Yo.
Yes. Well, Jackson, good news. Number one, it's the Tim McKernan Show podcast from the Longo Big Studios. Number two, that's Jackson Bennett Burkett, rising star in the industry. And number three, just like TMA this morning and just like Balloon Party, which we just completed, I want this one today. Now, you in the audience who are watching or listening live have to play the role of Jackson Bennett Burkett. I don't know if you can. Do you have a haircut as cute as Jackson's new cut? Do you have the ability he has? I don't know if you do. But if you do, you can light the fire to get that which I want to give.
I like that sentence structure.
You like that?
Oh, big time.
Yeah. Hold on, I got to tweet out a gif of a cute boy.
It's the tradition,
Yep.
weekly tradition.
I got a good one.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Just went out.
Like the old Twitter tweets, x.com.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. I think you'll be pleased.
Really,
You'll be pleased. Anyway, we're on YouTube, but if you're podcasting,
the beginning part of it is so great because you get to see a little happy trail and some pale skin. Then he puts the shirt down, and that's what he's wearing. It's an owl on top of a tiger.
T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. You know, there's a lot of... I've learned a lot. I know a lot about... What is it? I know a lot about Pennsylvania.
I learned a lot about Pennsylvania. How's Joe Paterno?
One of the things we need to do for the QFTA post on the TMA fan page is somebody else other than me needs to post them because you can't interact with me. Now, when I leave the show, initially I think I will be reviled.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think I'll be deified. I think that's how it'll go down. But either way, in the current, in the now, in the deep, Bird York from 2005 Best Picture Crash.
Bird York. I haven't seen Crash in forever.
Best Picture.
Yeah. By in name only.
In the moment, it would be better for you to post that.
I'm on it.
No, I've already done it. I've already posted a picture of Chasey Lane in the mid-'90s before
Right.
she...
Yeah, right. All right, next week then.
Yeah. It's just, you catch more fish. I catch more fish privately, perhaps. I don't know.
No, I mean your email would be...
But public, yeah, the email is good, but I'm in the mood for like a live conversation with the audience. That's what
YouTube chat's always great for that as well.
Yeah, it is. MD 2020's in there. He says, give it to me, as is Chels Oss.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you say that? Chels Oss? C-H-E-L-S?
Yeah. Hi, Chels. Is that a woman?
Oss?
Chels, Chelsea.
Ooh.
That's what I think.
Wow.
Unless they're just like really good at
Chris
NHL
Bray
video
says,
games.
hi, fellas.
Hi, Chris.
So you think Chels is like a real-life girl?
Well, I think it might be short for Chelsea, unless, of course, they're referring to Chell, which is the NHL video game.
I like that. So I'm open to give, but you got to light the fire in order to get.
Firestarter?
Yeah, Firestarter, Twisted Firestarter, Prodigy. I know 97's in play, so I'm going to say 97. God, I guess I'm going to say 96 on the off chance it's 95 because I know 97's there. Prodigy, Firestarter.
1996.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, what do you want? What do you want? I'll give it to you. How's D'Angelo Hopkins in there? I just saw him walk out.
He's omnipresent.
Chels Oss says I'm a hot 20-year-old Mizzou student.
Nice. All right. What sorority?
I assume Tri-Delt.
Yeah, tried out. Maybe A-Phi.
Yeah. A-Phi?
A-Phi.
What's Alpha Phi?
Alpha Phi.
Oh, was that like a good one when you were there?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Very good.
Wow. Must have had a good rush class after I left.
Really? Yeah, I guess.
All due respect.
Cyclical. Like when Sigma Chi comes back, I think they actually might be back now.
All right, we come and go like the cicadas.
It'll be like totally different than what it was probably when you were there.
Two-term rush here.
That's right.
Kind of like that acknowledged. Guys, Mount Rushmore threesome movie. See, Chris Bray is coming in and he means business, and I like that. But what is my favorite threesome scene of all time? Abigail Mack and Ella Reese did a scene together. I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm the only person who cares about this. I'm really upset.
What's that?
Here, let me go to, what is it, Ella Reese Baby?
Yeah. There's a threesome in American Psycho. It doesn't end well, but for a minute there, Bale naked, pretty hot.
Here.
Okay, that's
That's Ella Reese, latest Instagram post.
really, damn.
Yeah. Now I need to post the Zach Johnson Shinnecock gif. Yeah. We've lost the golf course.
Yeah, Ella.
I don't know how well received I would be by 20-something women who are filler up.
Right.
But I think that might be the second chapter for me. Is a filler interventionist.
Life is now post Ella Reese lip filler. Everything was either pre or post Ella Reese.
I don't even recognize her anymore. I don't know what to do. And the thing is, she posted it, which means she thinks she looks good, which is great.
Right.
I mean, what else matters?
Totally.
I don't think she's looking for me, but I'm just saying I don't recognize her anymore. It's gotten away.
Yeah, lost the golf course.
I was at an event on the golf course, and one of the people I was with, one of the gentlemen I was with, one of the cute guys I was with, and some ladies showed up toward the end, and they were all dialed up. And the guy goes, "They're not doing this for us. They're doing it for each other."
That was a moment.
Well, that's filler in 2024.
Yeah. I mean, I know I personally dress to impress the guys.
I know you do.
Yeah. But I see it. That is a real moment when you realize that. But
Do you think that means they're sapphic?
That's my next question.
God, wouldn't that be great?
My next question is that they might.
Wouldn't that be great? Like as they learn how gross men are as they get to their 30s.
Right. Body hair, rolls.
Right. Yeah. Just awful.
Loss of hair, certain places, gaining hair, others.
Well, that they go, you know what? Her skin is soft like mine. She's also looking for something softer.
Longing for something.
Longing, lusting.
Yearning.
Yep. Manchild79's in there, says subchat. Don Peepee says it's topical for sure. Yeah, because it is the summer of threesomes. See, any threesome I think of like Stag.
Right.
Where's like a good film with a threesome? You know what I mean?
American Psycho was one.
Who's in the threesome? Christian Bale?
Christian Bale. I can't remember the two women in it, but it was an MFF, the less popular.
Yeah. I
looked up famous movies with threesomes. They're claiming Wolf of Wall Street has one. I don't remember there being a threesome in Wolf of Wall Street.
I don't either.
Oh, there is. It's just it's male, female. Jonah Hill and Leo in The Office.
Really? God,
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's Stratton Oakmont. Yeah, no, I do remember that.
You think Jonah Hill and Leonardo DiCaprio have had a threesome together in MMF?
I wouldn't rule it out. I've heard Leo gets really wild.
Yeah, I mean, those boats. Can you even imagine?
I mean, like
the heaps of junk.
He's like the king of the dad bod, and yet every woman in America
Well, that
wants
doesn't
him.
matter.
That's what I'm saying. Is like he's reached a point where he can like let himself go and still be like the most sought after.
Here, I got another theory for you.
Okay.
I'm just throwing them out here because I want it, but I don't think the audience is going to. I don't think you people, and I hope people understand what I mean by that. The whites, Manchild79, all due respect.
Right.
I don't think you people are going to bring it today to get me to where Jackson gets me every day from 10 to 11. But I'm willing to go if you want to go.
Right.
If you're a woman in your 30s in 2024, in your 30s, okay? Because so at this point now you've experienced what I'm going to describe as some semblance of sexual maturation. You now kind of have a better understanding of both the landscape out there and that which you enjoy in there. And it could be anything. Because why? We don't kink shame.
Right.
If you find a guy in his 30s or 40s, I don't know if it's possible in your 50s, who has like a perfectly sculpted body, you know, deep down, or maybe you even know just right there on the surface, that isn't going to go well for you. Yeah. Now, like I said, I'm here today.
Oh, yeah.
Are you here?
I don't know if I'm there, but I'm here.
And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, number one, good chance he might not be interested in you.
Sure.
Number two, if he is going to, in his 30s or 40s, spend that much time to make sure, and assuming this gentleman's not an actor
Right.
in the gym, lifestyle, getting there, there's something doing in which he's going to leave some putts out there, so to speak. That's what I got for you. Do with it what you want. And so maybe in like a short-term one-night situation, it could be rewarding. And if that's what you're looking for, God bless you.
Yeah.
Because this is a show that doesn't kink shame, doesn't slut shame.
Nope.
Actually, it slut celebrates.
Absolutely.
We're sluts.
Boy sluts at that.
Right. But I believe that I think women, by the time they're in their 30s, know that to be the case. And I think most of the people in the YouTube chat are ladies. I know Chels is a 20-year-old, so she isn't there yet.
That's right.
But, yeah, I'm just...
That's interesting.
No, it's right. It's not even interesting. It's just right.
It can be both.
It's right and interesting.
Yeah, let's prioritize here. Yeah, I could see
Think
where
about
you're coming
that.
from. No,
But I mean, how many friends you have in their 30s at this point? You know what I mean?
none.
Right. So so you're not going to, but it's just not the way that it works. So you kind of get to a point. Now, I think it's completely unfair to make that crystal clear. I recognize that. It's completely unfair that, like DiCaprio, I think, is he 50 yet?
I think he's turning 50 or just turned 50.
And he's still going to be able to enjoy, yeah.
He's 49. He'll be 50 in November.
Dad bod or not, it doesn't matter. But if you had like a dumpy, rich actress at 49 on a boat, there'd be like TMZ posts galore, like what's gone wrong with whomever.
Right. That's all. Yeah, that's how it always goes. Yeah, that's a bad double standard, but it exists.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm here to bring today. What you got?
Yeah, bring the heat.
Yeah, I mean it's in here. I mean I've offered up $200 for hate mail. $200, and I haven't got one. I haven't even got like the guy who usually uses the burners.
Yeah, right.
$200 for that which exists.
Oh, it's out there.
It is. It is.
It's out there.
But they won't send it to me.
Send it directly to the source.
Right.
If you want something actually to be done.
$200, and you think I'm not going to pay?
Right. I can assure you Tim will pay.
Right.
And
but you got to use your real name.
Yeah.
And I know that the White Hood of 1920 is the anonymous account in 2024.
Yep. And anonymous emails exist. Anonymous burner emails exist.
Right.
And they're easy to pick up on.
Right.
A lot of numbers, antiquated platform. These things are easy to pick up on.
That's exactly right. Tim, I'm buying my grandparents a sound story. Any advice for the olds? Yeah, Eric Nickens. Here's the thing that I will say, because we talk about this when we're like Doug and I were talking about one in a commercial break today. I know, and I think Doug and I have done the most of these at this point, and we've certainly probably combined, God, I don't know. I would think probably close to 500.
I gotta say 5.
Yeah. And really, truly enjoy doing them. That the thing that we take for granted, because we sit in this studio all the time, is that when people come in, they're nervous. And so this, Eric, I would say to your grandparents, there is absolutely no reason to be nervous, even though I know you can say that to somebody. But what I will tell you is this. Know this, within 5 minutes, truly within 5 minutes, the nerves will go away. It's just, I don't necessarily know how, I just know that's it. And then we get done, and then people, oh my God, that was so great. Yeah. What a great idea. How'd you come up with this idea? I'm so glad I did this. I need to tell my friends about this. That's what winds up happening in the few minutes after the interview. So I understand people being nervous. They're coming into a studio. You're interacting with me. That's got to be, I mean, you know, I've met presidents. I know what it's like.
Yeah, it's scintillating.
But for whatever reason, and I think this is the case across the board with the people who do the interviews, it just becomes a conversation, and then you forget that you're actually in a studio doing an interview.
Yep.
And you will be so happy you did it. Just make sure you do it. That's the thing, man, because this thing did start in November 2019. It's only really ramped up over the last year or so. But it's, I don't know, say it's weird. It's just, I guess, logical. How many times I've gotten an email now from somebody who we've interviewed, and that person has passed away. But I suppose if you're interviewing people in their 70s, 80s, or 90s, that's just the way that it works. I don't know why that would be all that alarming. But then oftentimes I have people go, God, we were going to do it and we weren't able to get it done, or we just didn't do it and now they're gone, or we didn't do it and now they can't do it, or whatever. Do it. Like, I still haven't done one with my mom, and I'm telling you, it's like this thing that, it's a fear for me. It's definitely on my dossier, but I got to get that done. Let's see what we got. At what age does an older man hitting on a 20-something-year-old become creepy? It's from Don Peepee.
I would say,
like, right now, if I were to hit on a 20-something, let's say, so me at 47 and let's say 29, so we're going to minimize. We're at 18. So I'm at the University of Missouri when this person was born.
yeah, when you look at it that way, it's tough. 29, here's what I'll say. No matter what age, unwarranted hitting on is
Somebody said the answer is
creepy.
however old Ken is. Mark McCarthy.
That's a stray. That's a stray.
It was a stray.
But any unwarranted hitting on at any age is creepy. But
This is something that's totally different for your generation than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, approaching someone can now be considered aggressive.
I would say that there's ways to approach somebody in which it wouldn't be deemed as aggressive.
Give me an example.
Hey, how are you doing today?
So you don't want to get laid?
I'm just saying, like, this is how I think.
Okay.
Start a conversation in a normal way. Hey, would you mind if can I buy you a drink?
Are you drinking Cavassier?
Yeah, of course you are. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm drinking VSOP.
Right.
And then buy the drink. And then you've approached someone, hit on them without it being necessarily creepy. But when I think of unwarranted creeping, I think of like the guy hitting on the cart girl or the guy hitting on the waitress.
Oof.
Right. That's what I think of when I say like unwarranted hitting on.
That's what I think
like
of.
they're not in the same
it is.
headspace as you. They're
It
working.
is something else.
But in general, I would say, yeah, if you're in your 40s or 50s hitting on someone in their 20s,
All right.
let's back it up a little bit.
Okay.
Let's back it up. Let's let this person
I feel like
live.
you're talking to me passive-aggressively. I asked this because I'm 39 and won't date anyone under 28, yet recently I've had an uptick in the youngs interested in me. Look at this. Yet another coxman in the audience. It's
Hello,
so great
Don.
to have Don Peepee. I wonder if Don Peepee, these ladies are attracted to you because they know that you're Don Peepee in the YouTube chats on TMA and Balloon Party and the Tim McKernan show.
I can't
That's got to be equity. I like Chell's Oss.
It's one hell of a conversation to start with. Yeah, I do this work, but I moonlight as Don Peepee
In a YouTube chat.
in local sports YouTube chats, and they're like, "Oh, wow, where's your apartment?"
They cool as cucumbers, and with your soothing voice, I'm sure they'll do great. That's from Eric Nickens. Sometimes I read things in the YouTube chat and I don't know what we're talking about. What's that?
I think he's talking about whoever he bought the sound story for.
Oh,
And
God bless. Well, that's great. That's great to hear because for real, I think for about 1%, maybe, God, it might be less than that, of people, they're like, oh, this is morbid. It didn't even cross my mind, honestly, when we came up with the idea. And then Learn asked me about it. Learn mentioned when I did a podcast with her. She goes, anybody like, God, this is kind of morbid? And I think that might be the reason why my mom has kind of delayed doing it.
yeah, but I've done a few with people in their 30s and 40s before.
I know, but I mean,
Generally,
some
it's
people,
not the case. Yeah.
some things.
Right.
Yeah, I'm at peace with death,
Yeah.
But I know plenty of people are not. I don't know. I might even be in the minority on that. And so, I'm like, all right. I mean, what are we going to do? We sit here and jerk ourselves off? Let's tend to some business here. We got to do this stuff. It's like with my dad. He was telling me, listen, I got, here's where I got your mother, my, spot, when we go. And Timmy, I'm on the back nine, buddy. Your mother doesn't want to talk about this shit, but I got to make sure it's taken care of for you kids. So here's where it is, just so you know, because your mother doesn't want to talk about this. So that's kind of, so I recognize the situation. Let's see. Hey, guys, why is Ken Strode allergic to money? It's from One Lil Clog.
Great name, but you can find out that information by emailing him directly.
Negril111 at AOL.com.
Right, I'm not going to speak on behalf of Ken Strode.
For sound stories, is it better to do the parents together or separately?
Good question right there.
Doug, this was actually what Doug and I were talking about in the break room, matter of fact, I think at 9 o'clock. He said it's tough when it's a couple together because I don't feel like they get as much depth
Right.
as if they were coming individually. But, hey, this is a business. It's a business transaction. And if you were to do them separately and you got video, you're talking about, $700+ per person. So if you are looking at it from an economic standpoint, you might not get the depth, but at least you still have the video and you have them interacting together as well. And so if you're looking at it from that standpoint, then you just do one and it saves you the money. So because we allow the option of having both people come in together. So yeah, you're going to get, I suppose, mathematically 30 minutes of each approximately. It doesn't work out like a formula like that. But the thing that I'll say about it for sure is I think it is best if it's just me, whether it be you. Good Morning Grant now is taking the Plowhawks role for running the board on the interviews, and the guest. I don't feel like people are as comfortable, weirdly, when they have one of their relatives in here watching the interview, which is counterintuitive, I think. I think you would think, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I just want you in here with me because I'm nervous, and that makes me comfortable.
Right.
But I think the interviews actually, more often than not, it's certainly not an absolute, are better when the people wait for them outside.
Yeah.
And I think some people have heard me say that now, and so more often that's the case. But at the same time, if you're 85, you're not familiar with this show in any capacity, which is usually the case, just like, I just want my son or daughter, or both of them, sitting in here with us. So that's the one thing I feel like I can say. All right, you can post your questions in the YouTube chat. I got emails. Got a good one here. I told Jackson it's better if you post these things on the TMA fan page, because on the TMA fan page it's bad to publicly interact with me. But I like this one from the Barnhart Brawler. What's the point of sports? Is it to win things or to make money? I feel like in the past, it felt like teams tried to win, and the best teams did good, sustainable business, and because they were financially sound, they could challenge and win more consistently. Nowadays, it feels like the focus is on the business, creating a brand, selling ads, sponsors, TV rights, and turning a profit. Winning seems like a nice secondary benefit to a lot of organizations. Has there actually been a shift, or am I just growing up and seeing the world for what it is? I could not agree more with that post. I think it is spot on. I really do. Do you see it otherwise?
I think...
But here's the thing. I want to put a disclaimer. I feel like I grew up in a portion of the era which he is referencing, and I don't think you have grown up in an era in anything other than more of the business.
Yeah. So I think that's correct. I also think that in general, as like a blanket statement, it is presented to fans as all we want to do is win, when the truth is all they want to do is make money. Now, sometimes that goes hand in hand. You go deeper into the playoffs, win championships, more likely you're going to make more money.
Right.
So the two things do work hand in hand. I also think, in general, to what you said, Barnhart Brawler's question?
Yes, indeed.
Barnhart Brawler's question there, I do think that it is a little bit of kind of growing up and maybe seeing more of it, but I also think the advent of the internet, the age of information, like there is just so much more information out there about finances from certain teams, about TV deals, player contracts, all of that rising and being more out there because of more information.
That's good. It's a good point.
There was two newspapers in St. Louis in the 70s and 80s. There is now 1 billion websites out there where you can read a bunch of different stuff about sports teams and what have you. The more information out there, the more privy you're going to be to that, and the more it stays in your consciousness, whereas, when you're only reading 6 ball writers talking about the games, that's all you really think about. And I think that's part of the reason. I think it's a mixture of all of those things.
I respect your opinion.
Sure.
And I think you're a wonderful gentleman. And I was saying, I played golf with yesterday, Jackson? David Price of Biggies.
Nice.
Great people.
Yeah, I love Biggies.
And you know what he said about you? We were talking about, it's bad-mouthy.
Of course, yeah.
He said, I can't believe he's only 26.
Oh, that's what
it's a great compliment.
What a nice thing.
It's a great compliment. With the way you carry yourself, astute perspective. Here is where I think the biggest difference is, and maybe I'm wrong, by the way, because this isn't like a data-driven perspective as much as it's an observation. The people who can now afford to own teams are business people, or they are run by a group of business people or funds, and therefore they think, of course, like business people. And that is the mindset, however long that's been going on. Locally, I think you could say it's been going on since the DeWitt Group bought it from the brewery. But for the first however many years of MLB teams, of NFL teams, of NHL teams, of NBA teams, NBA perhaps in particular, because that was a fledgling league more recently than any league, and now has experienced the greatest growth, I would argue, in the last, 45 years?
Yeah. Yep.
That those were families who got into it because they love sports and then would oftentimes pass them down generation to generation. And therefore, they weren't necessarily business people. They had to certainly be observant about the business, don't get me wrong, but the goal and their metric of success was championships and wins. Whereas now, the goal and the metric is profit and or the valuation of the franchise. And so the mindset of that which is successful has changed in the last 25, 30 years versus the first century or so of sport in the United States.
Love that. I think the analogy I would use for that is what was once a street full of mom and pop shops is now a Walmart.
Wow.
And Stan Kroenke, being who he is, makes that perfect.
Right.
I think that's spot on, where families used to run the teams, and it was more like, a family legacy to own it, the Ricketts with the Cubs, whatever it might be. And now, for one singular person to own a team since 2020 is so rare. It's almost always, like you said, groups of business people or basically corporations themselves, buying teams and creating, a much more not sanitary is not the word. How would you describe the Apple Store?
Condescending.
Outside the Genius Bar.
Right.
Damn it, Jackson. Get your words. Hour 4 of half a radio.
And then he folds up.
I know.
This isn't good for member guests next week. This isn't good for member guests next week.
Sterile. For what once was a flavor of local pride, if local people owned a team, is now a much more sterile corporate feel to teams because they're not owned by people in your community. They're owned by business people who may only come to your town when the team is playing.
Right.
And that I think is a good point, a really good point.
I also think, in fairness to those business people, because I know business people carries a connotation that is negative.
Right, especially billionaire business people.
Yes, and what else is there that can buy a team in 2024?
Right, 100%.
The cost of doing the business has gone up exponentially. Exponentially. And so somehow when people bitch about a team's failures, and then we'll focus on spending. And I know that locally that means people think of the Cardinals, but the Cardinals are not the only ones who catch hell from their fan bases for spending. It's across the board in the non-cap sport of baseball. The players' salaries are the reasons why you got to have a certain bankroll in order to be able to play the game.
Yeah, man.
I mean, Derek Jeter, which is kind of an eye-opening thing. And I'm going to reintroduce it on the off chance people aren't familiar with what took place with the Miami Marlins. Yeah. Derek Jeter. Let's see. How much money do you think Derek Jeter made playing baseball? I honestly don't know. I'm going to fire a bullet. I'll type it in my... This is how Jackson and I do tests. We do little tests. We text each other cute cockpicks.
Played for 20 years. So
this is my guess before I go to Baseball Reference. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Are you texting me your answer? Or are you looking it up?
I was going to put it in my notes app.
All right, I'm just texting it to you because I don't know what the fuck you're doing over there anymore.
I had 175.
All right, I wrote 200 million. Okay, so we're on the same page. All right, we're going to get a confirmation. Either way, we all, I think, would agree that he's wealthy. Maybe unless Mr. Licks is watching. I feel good about my $265 million.
Damn,
the man made $250 million.
Damn.
And yet it was understood that there was no way he could buy the Marlins, and that he needed to go out and bring on a partner. The man made $250 million. And while he played a long time, it was only 18 years of his life in which he made this $250 million.
Yeah, it's a good ratio.
And yet it was Chris. And by the way, I would imagine there were some marketing dollars here and there.
Yeah, that's just
contract. A salary from the Yankees.
Yeah.
And yet it was well, he's going to have to find somebody to finance this thing, you know.
Right, yeah. He's viewed in those circles as like, you know, former player.
Like a middle-class guy.
Right, or even less, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, he can't, and, you know, I mean, that is what I will use to present my point. $250 million, and he was a poor when it came to buying a team that he had to bring on partners. That is what we're talking about. Imagine somebody, let's go 50 years ago, who had $10 million. I bet they could buy a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here.
No, I don't know. Not 50 years ago. Point being, you know, I mean, for those of you who enjoyed Winning Time, and I wish it was coming back.
God, I do too.
The way Jerry West pulled that whole deal off by interesting financing. Yes, Jackson. What do we have?
Matt Ishbia, I would say, is like the most recent purchaser of a team as an individual, and he bought the Suns and the Phoenix Mercury for $4 billion.
Yep.
$4 billion. Yeah. I mean, that's like that. The people like that, they're two-digit people like that, maybe in the whole world who could do that.
So the way these things are growing in value is in a way kind of similar to a monster social media platform, in the sense that it's not valued based on a multiple of cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like art.
Yeah.
In that there are only so many.
Right, scarcity.
And there are a bunch of us, i.e. billionaires, and you get to a point, I think, I mean, this isn't across the board, this again is all speculative, but I'm trying to psychoanalyze it, that you're bored. But you need something to get that competitive fire, because in business, okay, I had an exit for whatever it was. I mean, a $10 million exit is glorious. Not going to get you anything as far as this world goes. Mm-hmm. But I had an exit for $100 million, and I need to, because I'm now 45, and you know, I need something to do. I need to invest. I need to get a reason to get out of bed. I played golf. I learned how to do whatever. But I need something. And I still got half my life to go. Or only add up the teams from the 4 major leagues in North America, and we're at, what, about 120 to 130, I guess. Yeah. So if you have hundreds of billionaires, plenty of whom want to sweat, and the legacy thing, which I believe is what Steve Cohen with the Mets is going for, then the value is not based on, oh, the Dodgers turned a $700 million profit. The value is, I got to get one of these things. Yep. Okay, they're bidding 3.2, I'll bid 4.
Right.
That's what I think is going on.
Right, because I'd have to imagine there are more safe and maybe even lucrative investments one could make for that amount of money than a sports team.
Absolutely, but not going to provide the spiritual, egomaniacal,
or the notoriety
return on investment.
Yeah, man.
That's what I think it's about. I loved the Barnhart Brawlers question.
Really
that was a great question, and it's something I would love to talk about on TMA and Balloon Party. It is a really good. That's an astute observation, because I think it helps explain. And then you talk about the disparity in wealth, and I think it kind of helps explain why the players aren't necessarily the ones who are villainized for the increase in compensation packages, but the owners. The owners are viewed as, in part, the face of the problem. They can't play, but yet they got rich. These guys can play. I understand. I can't do what they do. Mm-hmm. Now, you also probably can't do what the DeWitts did. Right. But people don't necessarily want to hear that. I know I've mentioned the anecdote. I don't think I've said it ad nauseum, but you may have heard me say it before, when in a very shocking move, the Cardinals made Steve Klein their player rep when a work stoppage was approaching. I don't know how many of you remember Steve Klein, but he certainly didn't hold back. And the governor did an interview with me for Sports Sunday on KMOV, and he said, you know, anybody can be a doctor or a lawyer, but not anybody can throw a ball 95 miles an hour. And I think the Cardinals went, oh, God, how did we allow him to do that interview without, like, a media relations person watching over him? Because, as you might imagine, it didn't play well.
Can't imagine it would.
Anybody can be a doctor or a lawyer, but not everybody. And the thing is, there's a little truth to it, but there's a way to frame it, and that's just... So that's what I always talk about with the Cardinals. They just need they need to work with Fleischman or something, like with the way their PR is just off.
Yeah, they need a better mouthpiece.
And they had it with Lamping. He was perfect. And I remember asking Demoff was insulted when I brought up. I guess it's because he already knew he was leaving. Right. But I'm like, wouldn't it help if you had a Mark Lamping guy? He's like, why do you say we need that? I'm like, because you guys just piss everybody off. Every time you do an interview, you piss people off. Stan doesn't talk. You have a St. Louis guy, and I know it might strike you as odd as a LA/Harvard Westlake /Dartmouth guy that you need a guy who worked at the brewery to talk to the people. I'm just telling you, this is how it works here. Yeah. So if you care, as it turned out, that was my mistake.
No, they did not care.
Did not care. Let me see what I got in the YouTube chat. The people are going now. Now the people know I'm willing to give it to them.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how do you want to get it.
Yep.
What do you think? Reverse cowgirl?
Yeah.
You think it's reverse cowgirl today?
Sure. I don't see it's as good as
I don't think women like reverse cowgirl that much. Thoughts? You want to do another one of the polls?
I don't know on that. I don't know.
I'll tell you why I think that. I listened to that Holly Randall podcast.
Yeah.
I was listening to an interview. Have you listened to the interview with Agatha Vega yet?
It's on my dossier.
Yeah,
level 2 importance.
Thank you. And they say they feel like they're doing squats when they're doing reverse cowgirl.
Yeah, I could see that. And shape-wise of both pieces of equipment aren't necessarily conducive to that.
You got to play Hey Diddle Diddle or bring out the magic wand.
You're going back.
Right.
They're going forward. It's just not. It doesn't seem ergonomically like the right play.
I don't know if that was the right adverb there, but I'm going to roll with it anyway.
I think it might be.
It'd be great if it was. Let's see. Which drug is better? Blues playoff hockey, Cardinals playoff baseball, or late season college football? Wow, that's a nice question. The people are doing it today, Jackson. They're doing it. You said they wouldn't, and look at Chris Bray.
That was the wrong word there.
Yeah, I felt good about that.
I want that one back.
God. Wow. I mean, it's such a simple question, but yet such a great question. I mean, the people are doing it today here.
Aren't they ever?
On the Tim McKernan Show podcast. They're doing it, and I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of you, Chris Bray. I'm proud of you, Mark McCarthy. Timmy Walters, I see you retracted your message, but I'm still proud of you. One little clog. Eric Nickens, MD 2020. All right, what's your answer to that?
College football. Like Mizzou in the hunt. That does it. That's everything I need in my life.
God.
Cardinal baseball, close second, because the day-to-day aspect of it.
It's tough because with the Cardinals and the Blues, we've experienced the mountaintop.
Right.
I mean, the mountaintop, and we can do this because it's all recent history and you're old enough for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
What has been the mountaintop for Missouri football in the last quarter century?
Yeah, probably being Kansas' Arrowhead.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
There is an objective.
Yeah.
Because you became number one, you were a win away for playing for the national championship. And it was Kansas at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yep. We're
now,
13 or 14. Yeah.
If you beat Auburn in the SEC championship, now as it turns out, because of what happened in the Big Ten championship game later that night, you're playing Florida State, and Jameis is famous for the national championship at the fucking Rose Bowl.
God, sunset.
Oh, droop your tits on me.
Me too, while you're at it.
Yeah, if you could. And then, let me stop Jaden Daniels on 3rd and 12 from inside his own 5,
Please.
And let me realize how great Cody Schrader was.
Yeah, maybe
because that was a discovery after the Georgia game.
Yes,
he had a great game against Georgia, but it wasn't. He became a god over the course of November.
Yeah,
he did not enter the month of November as a god.
No, he did not.
And they're undefeated going into Roll Damn Tide in the SEC championship game. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're talking about things like beating Kansas. Yep. But Kansas is not a blue blood. Kansas, kind of like Missouri, was like, oh, what the fuck are these guys doing here?
Yeah.
You know?
People still look back at that like 07 top 25 rankings. They're like, what the fuck is this?
The 2007 college football season is used as an example of absolute anarchy. So, with that said, we know from the last 5 years what it was like to have the Blues make that run. Mm-hmm. And it was essentially every other night, and every series was a minimum of 6 games, 2 or 7 games. You experienced also the Stars series and Patty Maroon in double overtime. You experienced winning in Boston to win the Stanley Cup in the first 10 minutes of Jordan Binnington. And we also have David Freese in 2011, both the NLCS and the World Series, specifically Game 6. And every one of those games had something significant or was a thrilling ride. So we've got these 3 beautiful forms of cocaine in front of us, except with one of them, we can't speak to how good it is because we haven't snorted it yet.
Yeah.
It's on the tramp stamp, and I rolled up 100 actually because that's I'm an HD2.
Still rocked up,
but I haven't snorted it yet.
Yeah.
So I can speak to the Cardinal run and the Blues run. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know if 2006 wouldn't have happened. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And 2011 was the first one since '82. I think even as great as 2011 was, I think it's now in another world,
I know what you're saying there.
Yeah. In the 2006 World Series, while it was great to win it, it wasn't a great World Series.
No, the Tigers were shitting
Played terribly, and,
yeah.
I don't think too many people go, the 2006 Cardinals, one of the greatest teams ever.
Yeah.
We love them, but... So if you think about, like, let's say that Missouri wins the national championship this year. Oh, our loads are everywhere now. And that means they probably had to have won in College Station, Texas, in order to do that. Suppose they could have lost in Tuscaloosa, but then that means they've also beaten Oklahoma. I'd say night game, Columbia, Missouri, minimum 2:30 game, November 9th. Should still be glorious weather.
Yeah.
And chance that they're in Atlanta for the SEC championship. And there's a chance that they have a home playoff game in mid-December in Columbia, Missouri.
Oh,
Are you horse fucking me, Jack?
Oh, that'd be the greatest thing of all time.
And here comes the Golden Dome of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Great.
Oh, here comes the USC band.
Fight on.
Yep.
See, that is, so like when I say college football, to me, the first part of it is there's way more teams competing for it, more so than NHL and MLB. And second, the amount of teams in the modern era, like 21st century, who have won it, it's very few, it's rarefied air. Like it is not like, someone sneaking in and like the Marlins winning in 03 or something. Obviously they won earlier, a couple of years earlier, but it's like kind of a random, or the Angels winning in 02. It is like, oh my God, Missouri Tigers just won the national championship. That is unheard of and unthought of. So that is kind of the reason. I also feel a much deeper connection to the University of Missouri. St. Louis Cardinals are second behind there. Obviously, my thing with the Blues, even though I did watch every game in the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs and can't speak to how awesome it was.
Patrick Waugh playing goal.
I'm bad with names, especially with hockey players. But I knew it was a funky name. Either way, like that's why I feel like college football, because it's so difficult to win. Not to say it's easy to win the Stanley Cup or the World Series. That's not the case, especially not with the Stanley Cup. But you're competing against so many other teams, especially in the SEC. Something about it, man, would be awesome. Like, who's the most random national champion?
How many teams? How about I'll start here because I know where you're going. I was thinking the same thing, which is why I went to this list. Since 2000, how many teams have won a college football national championship? Oh, you're actually counting?
Well, I'm just like off the top of my head.
See if you can do it. Hey, I'll tip my cap if you can do it.
I will say...
Come fuck with me. Let's fuck away.
11. I'll say 11 in 20.
Not bad. 12.
12, okay.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So
counting Oklahoma in 2000.
And if you took Stanley Cup winners...
And the U in 2001. And then neither one have won one since.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you even go like in the past 20 years,
right,
it's considerably less.
So now you're down to 10 teams in 20 years.
In 20 years, that's
kind of, and War Eagle only got one of those.
Yeah.
LSU has a couple.
Yep.
The Seminoles only have one of those. The Gators only have one of those. Yep.
Ohio
No, they have
State.
two of them, 2006, 2008. Ohio State only has one.
Yeah.
How about
And those
that?
are
No, they got in 2002.
right. Okay.
With an asterisk. All due respect.
And then there was
all due respect.
one time there was a split champion.
2 times, 2003 and 2004.
Yeah, that's
LSU and USC. Oh, no, just one time. LSU at USC, and then USC won in 2004.
Right.
And then they lost with a near three-peat. Vince Young got them.
right. So I mean, right there, that is like part of the and all those teams that we just mentioned. Maybe with Florida being a slight exception, are certified blue bloods,
100%.
Undeniable blue bloods. And I would honestly
think
throw
people say
Florida.
I
would
think
throw
Florida's blue
Florida in
blood.
there as well, even if they've had a bad couple of years recently. Those are certified blue bloods that you would never deny. So to get to that level is something that like a team like Missouri hasn't done in the modern era.
I know.
So that's kind of why I go there. Because if you look at the past 24 years for World Series and Stanley Cup champions, it's much more than 10 to 12.
That ratio, that percentage. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's such a great question, and I think the truth is you can make a case for all of them, and I'm gonna agree. I don't know, man. It's just the Stanley Cup playoffs are just. I don't know. With college football, though, I mean, what we're about to experience, we've never experienced before. I'm assuming I'm going to love it. I'm assuming I'm talking about the 12-team playoff.
I don't see.
I'm assuming I'm going to love it.
I think it's going to be revolutionary in American sports.
I think it is going to be, God, just the best. And whereas with the baseball playoffs, it's played a role in my distaste for the game. I don't know who I was talking to over the weekend, but I'm like, I mean, you used to win a division and you went batshit because you were 4 wins away from the World Series, and now like guys walk out there and shake hands because they're like, I don't know. We got a best-of-3 series coming up, so fuck, who knows? Hope we win it. Otherwise, people say the season was a failure.
Paul Quintana.
God, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think the actual practice of the playoffs, I think the answer might be the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I think the ultimate goal, the mountaintop, so to say, would be grander for Mizzou football fans.
Yeah, I think that's the right answer.
think
How's this guy 26?
I think
That's what David Price said.
Because I will say, like, I've never been more into hockey than 2019 during that Stanley Cup run. I was locked into it's because it's so nerve-wracking. Any moment the game could change, turn on a dime, a penalty could go, and you got a power play that you're sweating through.
Gosh, it's
really
every other
awesome.
night for 2 months.
Yeah, it is.
Forget about it.
You're not gonna.
How about this one, Jackson? Jackson, outside of the toughs on the text line, do you day-to-day feel that you experience much anti-Semitism? Is that how you say it? Do you say anti or anti?
Either way, anti.
Okay. Nowadays. Or is it more of a general attitude of ignorance?
Certainly the latter. Day to day, I almost never experience it. Granted, I don't have the conventional look of a Jewish person, although I was taught that Jews come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. So that's how I like to think of it, even though some in the Jewish community do not feel that way.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Yeah, it's a point of conversation.
They'd be mad at you.
There's different, like Orthodox Jews, conservative Jews, Reform Jews. I'm Reform, so that's like the more accepting level, a little bit more pick and choose what you want to believe, but morality is kind of the key, more what I gravitate toward. That's why I think I have a positive relationship with religion, because I was taught it's a very accepting religion, and there's some who don't believe that. I think since October 7th, 2023, there has been a little bit more where I see it. It's just it's ignorance. It's ignorance. People
Like on our text line or
no,
or?
just in the world essentially. Like I think that there's a general lack of comprehension on what Zionism is and Judaism is, and that's a huge problem. But day to day, like asking me, I almost never ever see it.
No.
So.
Well, it's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I see it because I see the same text inbox that Jackson sees, and when I saw it, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Yeah. And then like a couple weeks later, I got anti-Catholic stuff, and I'm going, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, hold on a second, you can say shit about him. He's Jewish, but you can't say anything about me. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, how are we like going backwards? No. That's the thing that fucks me up.
Right. It's so dumb and silly.
Yeah, I mean that essentially. That's why I don't get worked up about it. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What happened here?
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Catholic. Okay, fine, sweet. But I just. The fuck?
Right, and I don't want to like discredit, because there is a ton of anti-Semitism going around, like I said, especially since October 7th, and people like again, like I think on both sides, and I don't like to be the both side guy.
Both sides.
I know I don't like to be the both sides guy, but there are people who are like consciously not understanding the difference between Zionism and Judaism, and those who don't understand it. And I think both are very dangerous. And I think also Jewish people are a little bit more sensitive to some of the anti-Semitism thing because we've seen what it's led to in not too recent history, like less than 100 years ago. So that's there. But for me personally, I almost never see it, which is a good thing.
God bless.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. All right, I'm just going the YouTube chat is now, they're just doing it. And I got emails as we're sitting here, too, so that's good. Daniel Harris asks, hey, Tim, just had a question. Last night I watched the 30 for 30 on the Vancouver riots. Was that brand new last night? Because my wife and I started to watch it.
Not sure.
And then I did the thing where I put the pillow over my head and I was gone.
You put the pillow over your head?
Oh, I always do.
Like you sleep under the pillow?
That's right.
Face up.
It's resting on my head.
So it's okay. So it's
fuck off. Fuck off. That's it. Where's Sea Monster?
Sea Monster on the fan page yesterday or 2 days ago said he has a bunch of edited Edmonds and McKernan show.
We've DM'd about that.
Yeah.
And I think he said he had it. Yeah, that's great to hear. To put him in the skeleton.
I think it's a perfect thing.
Those interviews were so good. Now, if Jim's not there, they never come on the show, number one, and then they don't humor me with my questions. Yeah. I'm dead serious, and I mean it, and I don't care, because I know I've said it before, but we would do the show, Jim would interact with the guy, he'd like look at me while I'd be like smiling that the guy is so excited to talk to him, and then I'd start asking questions, Jim would start looking at his iPad at pictures of tornadoes, and then I would do an interview for 45 minutes with this guy who's like, was that like a Jim Edmonds bot? Is he gone?
It's the idea of him looking at still images of tornadoes,
not
like videos of it, because it's kind of a dynamic.
He would like mouth to me. Look at this one.
Did you give him a thumbs up after?
I'd just be like if anybody could see this, they would never believe it. Like, here's this guy who I believe is going to wind up in Cooperstown doing a show, and all he wants to do is look at pictures of tornadoes.
Static images.
Static images.
It's kind of a dynamic, natural occurrence. It kind of is better when it moves.
Hey, Tim, just had a question. Last night, I watched the 30 for 30 on the Vancouver riots after they lost the Stanley Cup Final Game 7. That was 2011, Jackson. I know you remember it. Mm-hmm. I personally didn't remember a thing about that, but did you? Daniel Harris, funny you should mention that. I think I do, but I don't really think much of it, and I don't know why. I mean, 2011... said to my wife, I said, 2011, we were probably out in Las Vegas, you at the pool, me playing poker. She goes, we were getting married. And I go, yeah, but you at the pool, me poker. We didn't have tykes. And so I probably was out in I would always be out in Las Vegas playing poker during the NBA conference finals and finals, because we'd be out there for 2 weeks at a time.
Hotter than shit there then.
Didn't care.
Yeah, it's cool in the poker room.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that that was my life is very odd to me. And it wasn't that long ago that it was just like, she's going to be at the pool, and our dinner plans are contingent on whether or not I can run deep in a poker tournament.
Otherwise, it's in and out.
What the fuck? And I'm in my mid-30s. I mean, really all the way up until my 40s. Holy shit. That's insane.
I remember when you used to do like Periscope Lives from Vegas.
Yeah, people got into those.
2014, 15. Yeah. I would be in there.
Yeah.
And it was just like...
From the World Series of Poker, man. People got into those. Cause sometimes I'll pop, like my Facebook memories will be running deep in the Venetian, $250,000 deep stack, just one with pocket tens. I'm like, I was posting this on Facebook less than a decade ago. What the fuck? People loved me. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened. My contract was listed.
100%, yeah. We just talked about the differences in sports. Like the comments like, dynamite hands, Timmy.
Oh, my God. People were so into it. Like, I don't even, talk about my children now. And I used to break down. I've got ace-9 suited. I think that, in the cutoff, I raise, this guy re-raise, I call, and then, here's what happened after the flop on fucking Facebook. I don't blame people for thinking I did a lot of cocaine. I really don't.
I will say, when you start talking about poker, my eyes glaze over like nothing else you talk about.
As they should.
Because I don't understand anything or the
strategy. To me, it's worse than a guy talking about his fantasy team or his DraftKings team or golf.
Right.
I'm into it. I was playing a guy, beat the shit out of me in a match, as was expected. And he hits the ball 60 yards past me. And so I'm going to do exactly what I saw about how boring it is. But it's on number 8. Mm-hmm. I know you know what I'm talking about. and he can probably hit 3 wood to it. I could hit a great drive, and I've driven that green one time. Anyway, and I go, oh, the outcome of this match isn't in doubt. I mean, even though I'm only 1 down, we both know what's going to wind up happening.
16 versus 1 seed.
Right, 14 versus 3. But either way, I go, so we're riding along in the car, and I go, why didn't you hit driver there? I'm just curious.
Sure.
And he goes, when the pin's back left, I do, because then it's a chip. But when it's front or center and front right, I hit whatever the hell he hit. I don't know. And my reason is I'd rather have this shot. And I go, and then also with something else that was kind of like nuanced. And I go, all right. And he goes, you probably just were bored out of your mind. And I go, no, I love this shit. I love that shit. I love when people break down thought process on business, on golf, on poker. But there's plenty of things where there's thought process that I can't follow for the life of me. And my eyes would glaze over on that. I don't know it, and I'm not going to fake it because I don't fucking know it. And this guy is a whatever plus handicap, and I'm a current 5.9. We're playing 2 different games. So when I would hear a really good poker player break down his thought process for a move, fascinates the fuck out of me. In a way, I'm sure that's how some people view chess, but I don't know chess, so I can't understand it. But I love that kind of shit. And podcasts have allowed for people to go into that stuff, whereas I could never talk about that kind of stuff like on Balloon Party or something like that.
During like prime radio hours.
Right. And I get it. Hey, that's fine. But there's now markets for it. It's certainly more niche. But anyway, yeah, the breakdown of poker hands. But it's in a way, what fascinated, because cards are cards, and anybody can put anybody in one hand. It's the psychoanalysis, which is why I think like people who do well or did well would get into poker, because the competitive spirit, you can't control it. And so in a way, it's like, okay, I got nothing else to like challenge me at this point. We're good. I'm going to try to conquer that which is unconquerable. You can't conquer poker because you're always going to have whatever percentage of it is that's reliant upon luck. Kind of the same thing with golf.
To an extent.
To an extent. But you get to a point where you just can't compete with guys in their
eventually
20s.
Distance.
Yeah, that's the thing. With distance, it's just like, like in the match I'm talking about, I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to lose number 1. I know I'm going to lose number 6. I got, 16 other holes, and I'm probably going to lose a good number of those because he hits it 60 yards past me, and he's hitting wedge in, and I'm hitting fucking God only knows what, 6-iron or 7-iron. It's just a different game. It's like how Kisner talked about.
Yeah.
He's like, if greens are soft, I can compete with the bombers at these long courses because my 4-iron is going to land and stop as opposed to how they normally are when they're firm, and it's going to go bouncing off. But I can't hit that club. I can't hit a 9-iron in like Brooks Koepka can.
Yeah.
I got to hit a 4-iron in, and obviously the 9-iron is advantageous. But I also know that most people in the population don't know about it, not because they're dumb or because, they're not wealthy. It's because they don't give a fuck, and therefore they haven't studied it. So I'm at peace with all of that shit. But yeah, I used to talk about poker on TMA. But TMA, essentially, when it gets down to it, is what am I interested in the moment? And you can see the evolution of the show's interest levels. Yeah. And that's what it gets down to. Yeah, on that 2011 riot thing, I was watching it. Here's what I actually thought, Daniel Harris, as I was watching that. I was thinking, we've had a drought on good 30 for 30s. That's what I was thinking. I love 30 for 30s.
Yeah.
But I feel like recently, there's like a new 30 for 30 coming up, and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, they kind of hit the. I was actually just talking to Mike Ryder, the executive producer, one on ESPN, about that, because he said he was watching a documentary about Reading Rainbow and LeVar Burton. And I said, as much as I love Reading Rainbow and LeVar Burton, the bar for what gets made into a documentary seems to be lowered.
I agree with the sentiment.
Yeah, and then my dad speaks very highly. It's on my list to watch, but I haven't seen it. I don't know how recent it is, and obviously, because of recent news, it's really popular right now. But apparently the Bill Walton, Luckiest Man on the Planet.
Is that a good one?
30 for 30 is outstanding. Apparently it's outstanding.
Okay, that's good.
And I think,
but when I saw that they're doing one in the 2011 Vancouver riots, I thought, yeah, this is like as the Daniel Harris in the YouTube chat said. Like, I mean, I guess I know about it, but it just didn't strike me as like this landmark thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something like that is
And
better.
then, by the way, anytime there's people like after a sporting event rioting, it's usually Hoosiers.
Almost all
So we can go to British Columbia, we can go to Morgantown, West Virginia.
burning couches.
It just it's like Fred Durst 99 Woodstock. It's like that's who pops up in the camera and starts screaming. It's like a Twitter account come to life.
Yeah. Weird extra jewelry that doesn't seem to be needed.
Right.
That's on there. I think something like that, putting my little producer hat on.
Nice.
Like there would be an appetite for a 10-episode series, like a docu-series, focusing, subjecting, and I'm sure there's something like that. I'm like Francesa inventing DFS over here.
Nice.
But like a 10-episode series. where
Oh,
it's
give me that all day.
40 minutes focusing on one certain topic as opposed to an hour and a half, 90-minute,
Yeah.
Even longer documentary or part documentary series where you can kind of hammer out. Almost always, I'm less interested in, like, if it's a focus on one person documentary-wise about their early life. Like, I don't need 30 minutes on, like, how they grew up, unless it's super germane to the story of their whole life. Almost always, like, get me going on when they started their career of what I know them from.
Well, I get that. I just watched the Bon Jovi Hulu documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Bon Jovi, certainly, you think of Bon Jovi in a different way than I think of them.
Sure.
I grew up, Slippery When Wet was one of the biggest albums from my childhood and of the 80s. And I came away and I was looking forward to it. My wife, who was 7 years younger, was like, yeah, that's you got that one on your own. And it was so much about like the now.
Right.
And that's like they just glossed over the shit that was, and I'm just like, I'm sure that was intentional in a way. I don't know. I didn't really care for it. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed. I was disappointed in it.
Yeah, I don't have
I didn't like the structure of it. I think they were all willing to talk, but I mean, obviously, John Bon Jovi's the one who's going to be El Capitan on it. But
people going. Yeah, I don't have
like the stuff from, I don't know, mid 90s on. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I know they had some hits and everything. And that like became a joke recently, like how bad his voice was, and he was working to get that bad. That's interesting. But some of the others, it just. And for 4 parts,
Yeah.
I don't know.
His son is engaged to Millie Bobby Brown.
He just got married.
Yeah. So she could have the coolest name ever, Millie Bobby Brown Bon Jovi.
Ooh, wow, that's nice.
Is that not the coolest?
Millie Bobby Brown Bon Jovi. Wow, that is
That's like
nice.
the coolest name
I got to
in
tell you, I hadn't
Hollywood.
thought of that.
Because Millie Bobby Brown on its own is like such a great
outstanding,
name.
yeah.
But then you add Bon Jovi to the end.
Let's see. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for this podcast. This is always the best part of my week. That's
Wow.
the Toy Maltese Mafia family. Well, that's a nice compliment.
Fun for the whole family.
I enjoy doing the podcast without question. Let's see. What's up, boys? Jackson, if you like The Big Chill, you need to watch Broadcast News.
Oh, I've seen broadcast news. You don't got to ask me twice, baby.
William Hurt,
Yep. Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter, Albert Brooks.
Albert Brooks.
There we go.
Who looks a lot like Robert Wool, but is a lot better actor than
Yeah,
Robert
I would
Wool.
agree with that. That's a nice assessment. I've got one for you. I was on Twitter yesterday, and I noticed Albert Pujols has around something like 300,000 followers, and then I looked up Steph Curry, and he has something like 17 million followers. So I'm the neighborhood kid. This is a common thing where baseball players just don't have the following as other athletes. What do you think causes this disparity? I like the question. My follow-up would be, Jackson might be able to answer this more effectively, is Curry more active on social media?
Yes, I would say that is accurate.
I have no idea. I don't think I follow either one of them. So
I follow
don't.
Steph, but I don't. I follow so many people. I've had Instagram forever. What I'd say on that, because the discrepancy, even if Steph is super active and Albert's not, that discrepancy is massive. Is even though Albert's an international player from Dominican, baseball only appeals to a certain amount of international interest, whereas basketball is the second most, I would say, international sport behind soccer. And so Steph Curry across the globe is like a brand that, it's unbelievable. Steph Curry is beloved in countries that have a ton of money and countries that don't have any money. They love Steph Curry. So something like that. And basketball appeals to a younger audience. Younger people are more likely to be on social media and follow Steph Curry. So I think that's just the nature of the two sports.
What's the most popular social media app right now for people in your age range?
Instagram and TikTok, yeah.
Fearful that TikTok's going to go away?
Yeah, if they do, Instagram Reels takes over.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
God bless.
I think people are Huge fans of the format, the vertical videos that are somewhere between 30 seconds and 4 minutes, more so than the actual brand of the platform.
Got it. Okay. God bless. There's Jackson Burkett, ladies and gentlemen.
There's times where I'm scrolling Instagram Reels. I'm like, am I on TikTok or Instagram Reels? Who gives a shit? It's the same thing.
What's the best worst case scenario? This is D'Angelo Hopkins, Chairman Kurt. What's the best worst case scenario Cardinal record wise this season for the long term success of the team? What's the best / worst case scenario Cardinal record wise this season for the long term success of the team? So I think what the chairman is asking is if like they bottomed out, would that then lead to significant change that long term would be good for the team? I think.
Yeah, I'm
trying to analyze a Mr. Lick's wealth shaming text, and I have to figure what he's trying to say.
Yeah, there's like multiple angles to that.
Right.
Yeah, I think for the best case,
John Mozeliak is done after next year, and I just don't feel like that gets enough attention.
Yeah.
Because people want him fired, and I just don't think they're going to fire him.
Right.
So there's that. And I also have been operating on the premise that the organization is tightening up the purse strings. And so I just don't know what really I'm really interested. Doug and I disagree on this. He thinks they're going to go all in at the trade deadline. And I don't. One of the reasons I don't think they will is because I don't think they can, which is something we were discussing on Balloon Party. And the reason I say I don't think they can, I know financially they, quote, can, if they wanted to take on risk and losses. But I'm talking about, I don't know if they have good enough prospects that would be attractive to bring on true help to go all in this year, which me is the huge issue right now for this team, in addition to the television situation. Yeah. I just think and it's so weird because baseball being what it is, like you couldn't sit here a third of the way into the Missouri season and go, well, they still could win the national championship. You know what I mean?
Right.
Isn't that fucking nice?
It is.
You know?
You got to get a good idea of what the team's going to look like. For the most
But
part.
at the same time, the thing that we talked about being so incredible, the third of the way into the Blues 2018-2019 season, they're going to win the Stanley Cup. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the appetite for a turnaround is much greater in sports like that.
But that it happened, and then it happened in 2006, 2011, and 2019, and all of them were unlikely.
Yeah.
Okay. Midway through the season, all of them were unlikely. So I don't know. I don't really know what they realistically would change. I suppose I like the question. I just don't know realistically what they would change. If people want them to spend more money, I don't know that they necessarily can / will this ownership group. And I don't think you want this ownership group to sell. No. That whole thing. Why are you saying that?
It's talking about DeWitt's selling
yes.
the team. I just...
Number one, I don't think it's happening. But just for the purpose of playing that out, because I know that pops up every once in a while, sell the team.
Yes, well, it seems like teams are moving a lot. And St. Louis isn't necessarily the most trending city.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
That is the issue. I mean, I don't think Bill DeWitt III is selling this team, no. to be clear. But, if that's something that you want to... I mean, there is nothing that makes them stay here. As crazy as it may sound, I'm not saying I expect it. I'm just saying if you're in your 20s and you want this team around for your lifetime, that's how I'm looking at it. I'm not saying in the next 10 years. At the same time, I don't know if it's believe or hope, but I really do think St. Louis is going to experience a resurgence. At the same time, that requires leadership who doesn't give a fuck. And by that, I mean doesn't really care if they get reelected, and I don't know where that's going to come from. With that said, I don't know if I think they're in a spot here because they just don't have pitching prospects in a large volume that are going to allow them the fluidity at the deadline to do much. And so I think they kind of are what they are, and that is a low ceiling rotation with a super high ceiling bullpen that I think could experience some real issues over the next 4 months health wise because of use, with an odd lineup that has potential Hall of Famers in it, but you don't necessarily get excited when they're on deck.
Yeah, right.
So what a fucking deal this is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's if you are a team right now...
You want the guy coming up who was hitting like 100 in his August and September Major League debut as opposed to the 2022 MVP.
Jesus.
That's where we are.
Yeah. Well, how life comes at you fast. Yeah. If you are a team right now with a nice stable of pitching prospects and maybe one starter who would be viable for a contending team, maybe a 3 or 4 guy, you could get so fat this deadline because pitchers are getting injured like crazy, and the teams that would need, like the Braves need pitching. Obviously, Acuna going down will change how they probably act at the deadline, but like if you had one pitcher you could give somebody and a good stable of young pitchers, you could get so fat this offseason on prospects and even MLB quality players right now. Because, boy, do teams need pitching badly. So when you look at the Cardinals, you're like, boy, you need pitching, get in line, and you don't have anything to offer.
And here's the thing. Who are the 2 best teams in the respective leagues? Take your pick. I mean, statistically, it's the Phillies.
Phillies and Yankees.
Phillies and Yankees. And then I'm sure many would say, well, when it's all said and done, the Dodgers will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I mean, that's like me showing up to an orgy and Manuel and Lexington Steel are there.
Right.
It's like, all right, well, I kind of understand where I am here. I might just be over in the corner beating off.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I mean, that's when those checkbooks come to town or in late July, it's a different ball game. So the Mariners and the Guardians are also leading their division, and there are the Brewers with a 6-game lead in the Central. But you've got the Dodgers, the Phillies, and the Yankees sitting there. I mean, who's gonna? You know what I mean?
Phillies are sick.
Phillies are sick. I don't know where the Cardinals fit into this thing, and I just think we just kind of talk ourselves into things that aren't going to happen. And by we, I mean me. All right, what else we got here, Jackson? We got a wonderful YouTube chat, and they're just not a good baseball team. Takes are over. That's from Ben the Butcher. Let's see. What else do we have? Be careful, Tim. Jackson's about to finish. Are you going to experience orgasm in here? If so, I'll leave.
I already did.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Let's see. To comment from my previous message, I don't recall the previous message from Daniel Harris. I apologize. Was that about the 30 for 30 thing, maybe? On the third, okay, on the Canucks and the Vancouver Rights. To comment from my previous message, when was a time sports has take on a national headline that you remember that wasn't about the sports itself? Oh, sure, no problem. Last 48 hours, Caitlin Clark getting, like I'll talk about that topic here. I don't want to talk about it on TMA or Balloon Party because it's like, oh, he's being, or brave or whatever. I just don't think it's brave. And then also I guess it will align me with people who get off on talk about race.
Yeah.
Some people are just like, good, you're speaking up for whites. And some people are like, oh, that's racist. I can't believe you're saying that. Are we? I don't think even anybody's even acting like a large part of the Caitlin Clark attraction is she's white. Is that just? Yes. I assume that this is. We're not even
right.
Like Larry Bird.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was Rodman or Isaiah Thomas, one of the bad boy Pistons. He's not even one of the top guys in the league. And then somebody goes, I mean, you might be right on the attention he gets as a white guy, but he's one of the top guys in the league.
Yeah. Whatever doubt Larry found out.
Right. Yeah. So, but that's what this. So then it becomes like this. Oh, we got to engage in that,
right.
And it just bores the I guess I mock the brave thing because that becomes, but it's like something that's so not brave or something that's so clearly not charitable, and I just roll my eyes, but it's not. I don't feel like it's my responsibility to go, hey, that's not brave, or hey, that's not real charity because this person's attention whoring over it. At least my definition of what is charitable. That somebody goes, oh, she's popular in part because she's white. Well, I mean, I don't understand because
it's part of the reason.
It's obvious, right. And it's not. But
saying it isn't taking away from her talent.
Right.
She's the leading scorer in college basketball history.
I also don't think it is wrong for human beings or racist for human beings to feel a connection with he or she who shares similar background traits. You know, that's just, you know, like if I like a guy from my neighborhood who's Irish Catholic, you know, that doesn't mean that I dislike somebody who's Jewish or black, you know? So it's just, I'm like, oh, we have some connections, you know? We can have this in common.
Shared culture in a way.
Right.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that I will not hire somebody who is not Irish Catholic from South St. Louis.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, this whole thing.
I think like across the board and inside STL's history, like the best hires have actually been public school people from not South St. Louis. If I'm thinking of them off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think in general, like what's glaring to me is, you know, who's not complaining about their treatment in the WNBA is Galen Clark, because she's a competitor.
But it just becomes, but what bothers me about it is it becomes like we're going to talk about it today. We're going to do it, you know, and it's just so. It's I don't know what the right word for it. I keep using the word boring and lazy, and I feel like there needs to be a better. It's pandering for attention, and it's disingenuous, manipulative bullshit that I get irritated by, not because of the topic, because the topic is just like, okay, we're going to tap in our 6-inch putt here, because it speaks to shit that actually matters, which I think is like my underlying fire. Mm-hmm. When I, you know, like Jon Stewart called attention to how he pulled up. Did you happen to see this from the Daily Show?
I've only seen clips of Daily Show. I haven't watched the full episode
from Monday
yet.
nights. Here are clips of news anchors talking about how this is one of the worst days in American history, all while trying to stifle their joy when former President Trump was convicted of 34 counts. You know, and it's just amusing. You know, this is a bad day for me, dark day for me. You know, one of those things. Except and it's just like it's so fucking lazy and boring. Oh, and God, holy shit, Megyn Kelly, who tells you down the middle, talking about how it's just, you know, it's just I mean, that's why. Again, Joe Strauss was not the only guy to call a ball and a strike. I want to make that clear, but locally, I feel like he was one of the only ones. And that's why I hearken back to it. And it's so refreshing when somebody doesn't necessarily pander, I guess. Like, oh, Clay Travis had a take on the Caitlin Clark that you got to be kidding me.
Right. I wonder where he falls on it.
It's just, and I fucking hate it, because I'm not mad at the WWE. But the WWE, most of the people kind of know it isn't real. But this is like WWE, and we're acting like it's not WWE. And that's the part that bothers me, because then it impacts things that actually impact lives. You know, if Cody Rhodes doesn't get a shot at the belt at WrestleMania, it's not going to impact lives.
Yeah.
That's I think the core of my fire on the topic. But when Daniel Harris asks for a topic that will be a 30 for 30, book it.
Oh, God.
Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
In the last interview, he'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. They competed and I competed. That's what happened. So, like, people get fouled. Right. Jesus Christ. That's unbelievable to me. People get fouled. Were the bad boy Pistons not being petty because they fouled Jordan? No, they saw greatness and they were going to say, fuck you, we're not going to let you go through us. That's competitiveness.
Oh, man. Have you ever thought about taking TM? Well, we got Daniel Harris is bringing it here, I think. I think we got a good YouTube chat going. I was getting ready to land the plane. Oh, you're observing? We got some. God bless. Good to see. Okay, you're about to finish. Then Daniel Harris. Feel like every damn year they make a narrative story about a player or team that has zero to do with the game. Media is skull-pounding the fans of sport. Ben the Butcher, I share a good amount of that opinion. But again, you know, too much, like going into the Masters. Not that this was real bold. I go, Scotty Scheffler. I said it on TMA because I remember getting a text. I mean, it was just one text. It wasn't you know, barring a surprise, is going to win the Masters. It's not like I've got a feeling. It's data driven. The issue was, up until the man got arrested, most people are like, this fucking guy's boring as shit. You know, this isn't good for the game. That was the topic. Then it became the Louisville Police Department and the whole thing there. But it wasn't based on, like, I like him. You know, it was based on, well, I, as a dork, track golf data, and his shot dispersion from these distances is so insanely tight that nobody's done it since Tiger Woods. Now, I'm not saying he's going to have the societal impact that Tiger Woods did. I'm just saying that's how good he is, but he doesn't carry the same cachet as Tiger Woods. And if you associate greatness in the game of golf with that kind of powerful, intimidating presence, then Scottie Scheffler isn't going to resonate with you. His greatness isn't going to resonate with you. I don't know. I mean, who is somebody in sport recently that didn't necessarily carry that cachet, but that was sick dominant? I'm sure some hockey people might say Connor McDavid. He's kind of understated for his greatness.
Tim Duncan is who I always go to.
Oh, that's a nice play.
I always go with Tim
That's
Duncan.
a nice play.
He's probably the greatest power forward of all time, but he's just
That's a nice
boring.
play. And then people are like, oh, the Spurs, they're so boring, you know?
But they were great.
But they were great. So it's like you have to have like this thing in order to be great. I'm like, well, no, you don't. I mean, this stuff's kind of...
Yeah, the panache isn't necessarily a pillar of greatness. It's some people can have that kind of showmanship or that kind of impact on people, and other guys are just like, I play the game and I go home.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I obsess over it.
The Goldschmidt.
Yeah, I obsess over it. Don't get me wrong. Nothing is more important to me outside of my family than my work. But I'm not gonna. I don't do much outside of that. And that's cool too.
Let's see. Have you ever thought about taking TMA away from radio, YouTube, and the app? Oh, this is like, okay, so there was a comma there, or was there? There wasn't a question mark. There was, okay. Have you ever thought about taking TMA away from radio? There would a question mark there. That's what threw me off. Should be a question mark. I'm not busting balls. I'm just saying that's what threw me off. YouTube and the app make it capable where you're not under contract anywhere, rather running your own content. Pardon my take from Barstool-esque. Daniel Harris. It's Daniel Harris, game ball.
Rants,
yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, I understand that many would still consider TMA to be a radio show. I don't. I can tell you inside of this building, they call it a podcast.
Daily podcast, yeah.
Yeah, TMA doesn't need to be on the radio. And what do people say on the Twitter tweets? Full stop?
Full stop, yeah. Full stop. Personal news.
Absolutely doesn't. And it's great. It's a great thing. Like the fact that I was, at this time, this was the time period, it was about a 40-day period in 2020, was buying KFNS, was part of a group buying KFNS. And that was only 4 years ago, fucks me up more than you know. Not because of the transaction, but because it's just such a different world now in 2024. And I could have said that in 2022 also. Yeah. It just is, it's just an absolutely different world. Now, I will also say people who are not media people were asking the very fair question of, if you're going to buy something that is a business, not necessarily a home, or something that is like a hobby, and you have the money to get a boat or something like that, which you know is not going to appreciate in value, or a car, then people who are way more astute than me, but you don't have to be super astute to be way more astute than me, we're saying, okay, well, if we're to do this, then what's the let's say plan in 5 years? Like if we buy KFNS, but any radio station now, I think you can make this case. So this is, I don't want to make it sound like this isn't a KFNS take. This is just observing what Daniel Harris observed. Any radio station in 2020, as we were, and then look ahead to, let's say, 2025, well, investors, or let's say I'm just doing it on my own, want to go, okay, we bought it for X, we want it to be worth Y, and Y damn well better be greater than X, otherwise what the fuck are we doing? Right. And I don't know how many situations in radio are going to show X being greater than Y from 2020 to 2024. I hope you're nodding. I think you're following me.
No, I get what you're saying.
I don't know what people in the audience are following me, not because I'm so brilliant, but because I'm speaking in fucking X's and Y's.
You're doing literary algebra.
On a podcast. But that's the core issue. Right. And but my thought process was, I'm trying to liberate this show from the shackles that we were in. And the only way I see out is to just fucking write a check. So that was the thought process at that time. at that time, people who are entering college were entering their freshman year in high school. That's not that long ago.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in high school, it may feel like a long time, but as you've experienced it, and I would imagine everybody watching this has, you go, yeah, God, that's a short amount of time.
8 years ago, and it was, yeah.
But in this case, I'm talking 4 years, and that's how quickly it shifted, and truly it shifted. But I mean, in part, that was kind of part of the game plan of doing this deal, is that it would be a real in-the-moment test, minimizing my risk to find out if we could truly take this in-house. A gentleman who you know, and I would imagine some people in the audience would know, who's basically been my advisor for more than the last decade, has always said, God, going back to like 2016, goes, well, I mean, the end of this whole thing, we already know how it ends up. I mean, you own the content. That's what matters. So you're just going to take this thing in-house someday. And that certainly could very well be what it is. But that was 2016 when we were thinking, okay, we'll just own time somewhere, because that which is, YouTube and an app, even though YouTube was certainly around in 2016 and apps were certainly around in 2016, the ability to immediately hit a switch and be broadcasting live to an audience did not exist in 2016 the way that it does in 2024. And in a way, it didn't necessarily exist in 2020 as it does in 2024. But the metric that we were analyzing and that I was analyzing was, if TMA generates, here we go again, X per year, because people were asking this question in this audience then, if TMA bills X per year, generates X per year in advertising revenue, what percentage of X will come over if we are not on the radio? That was the question. And those of you who've been listening to this for a long time know I probably talked about it on the radio too. And that percentage in 2020 was way less than it is in 2024. And therefore, it makes it absolutely an option, and a very attractive one. And to be clear, in 2020, whereas I was looking at buying KFNS to, again, escape the shackles of the situation, mentally and emotionally, really, more so than even the show, because the show wasn't the shack. The show was the escape. The show for 7 to 10 was the escape. This wouldn't be like, oh, I don't want to be at Hubbard. That's not it. I mean, this truly is a really great group of people, not a good group of people, a great group of people. But if it allows me to live where I want to live full time, and my children at the age they're in right now, school and so on, that might be what I just want to do. But the show is still, the show, if that's the direction that we choose to go. So I don't know. But yes, I mean, the observation by Daniel Harris is right on. Any thoughts you may have on that, Jackson, as a member of the Youngs? No,
you're right. Like in 2020, you could kind of see where things were going, but even then, it's different. I don't even know when YouTube's live, like their platform went like full live, because now, I mean, this is YouTube live stream is where things happen.
Yeah, 100%.
Mountains are moved.
It's the best.
And I don't know what that situation was like in 2020. I'm sure they had a live streaming platform, but I'm not sure it was as sophisticated as this one is, because it's great. And podcasting, again, was like, people were doing it, but it's grown exponentially year by year by year by year. So,
and if you look at the people in our industry who are making the most money, and I guess in a way, people aren't necessarily privy, I suppose, to those figures, and just because it's put in a newspaper blog or a social media post doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate. But they're not necessarily employees, which is kind of upside down for how many of us, me, not maybe you, grew up. But that's because you can distribute without having to be subjected to some of the restrictions of a corporation or not being the boss. Yeah. That doesn't mean that a corporation is bad. That doesn't mean the boss is bad. It's just, when it gets down to it, people, when it's all said and done, what may be more valuable at certain points in life, my point in life being different than yours, is more freedom than take your pick of whatever, whatever you may think, and probably again not you, just growing up, you like if you had the opportunity to be on this station or doing that, it was like, oh my God, that's a huge thing. And now it's kind of like, I don't really care.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I want to do my thing. I want to live where I want to live, and I value that happiness and freedom way more than, I don't know, like having a Mercedes parked in my driveway so everybody knows. I don't give a fuck. If anything, the people who'd care about that aren't my people anyway. You know what I mean?
2-car carport.
I'm more of a 2-car carport guy. God, imagine a 2-car carport. That's not in the tea leaves.
6 posts.
Let's see what else we got. Self-aggrandizing is the term you're looking for. Timmy, that's Ben the Butcher. What are we talking about there?
The
I'm
Caitlin
behind.
Clark thing.
The Caitlin Clark thing is self-aggrandizing?
Like people who, like that's, I assume that's what he meant because I remember him sending that in right after while we were talking about
But what does that mean along the lines
people
of
who
that topic?
see, like instead of like talking about Caitlin Clark as like actually having honest discussion, they're self-aggrandizing.
Okay,
Soapboxing, I guess.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just...
Seeing it as an opportunity.
let me ask you this, because you know I respect you and I respect your opinion. Who do you look to media-wise, and I'm including podcasts, and I'll include social media in there too, you really respect their opinion or you're interested to hear what they have to say? And it can be on any fucking topic. It doesn't have to be sports or politics.
Guy named Van Lathan.
Okay, well now I got to look up this Van Lathan.
Van Lathan works for The Ringer, host of the Midnight Boys. He does a bunch of other stuff with The Ringer. He's fantastic. You may remember him while he worked at TMZ. When
44 bills.
When Kanye West came into TMZ saying that slavery was a choice, the only person to speak up and basically like dunk on Kanye with logic and context and a bunch of different things was Van Lathan. He stepped up and was like, I think what you're doing is, you think what you're having is complex thought, but what you're actually having is the void of thought, devoid of thought. And I think he is spot on a lot of things. Higher Learning is another one of his podcasts where he talks more political stuff, but he loves talking sports and movies and all that stuff. But I always value his opinion. Good follow on Twitter, Van Lathan.
His second most recent tweet is one that I'm already in lockstep with. His top 5 favorite hip hop records. Of course, he's 44, so me and him are going to be more common on that. 93 Till Infinity, Souls of Mischief. Are you familiar with that?
I know 93 Till Infinity.
Okay.
Yeah.
My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me, Ghetto Boys. God almighty, strong. All of the Lights. He's tipping his cap to Kanye,
Yeah,
but I noticed he didn't, that's the only one of his list that he didn't list the artists on it.
Yeah.
I'm a Hot Boy. And then Sometimes I Rhyme Slow. Are you familiar with that? Nice and Smooth. I'll say, Doug, 91?
I don't know the years, Tim. Nice and Smooth is the name.
I guess 93's in play, and I don't think 90 is, so I'm going to say 92. That's how I'm going to arrive at it.
And what's the album?
Nice and Smooth. It's Sometimes I Rhyme Slow.
Okay.
I'll get to my point on this momentarily. Jackson's guy, Van Lathan. Now I'm going to start following this guy.
91.
So I got it.
Yeah.
They sampled Tracy Chapman's
Fast Car. Yeah,
which was kind of unique because that song had only been out, I think, 3 years earlier.
Yeah.
And usually sampling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens from long ago, but it's also early hip hop where you weren't sampling other hip hop. You're sampling probably, R&B.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what most of it was. You're exactly right. If you had to call it today, who wins the presidential election? I'm so fucking disappointed with both parties' candidates, but we're left with utter crap. God. Like for real. Like I'm sitting there and I almost gave the dollar figure. That would have been bad. I got my bet out there on the A's over total, which is not as much of a lock as it once was, Jackson.
They're giving some quarter now.
Fuck me. Yeah, they are. I think it's 57.5. Let's say I had to put that down on who wins the election. I don't know. I feel like Mr. T in Rocky 3. The only thing I can guarantee is pain. And by that, I'm not talking about like whoever wins. I'm talking about like, it's so obvious like where this is going to go that it's just I'm very careful. I have a conversation with my financial advisor on Monday, and he always like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be more aggressive? You want to be, and I'm kind of thinking about pulling back just because of what I think could happen over the next 6 months. I don't know. I just
transferring your money to Pan Coins.
The Pan Coins, bitch. But it's like nobody's really talking about it. And I don't know if people aren't talking about it in the same way people don't talk about dying. Like, you don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Morbid.
Yeah. But, like, let's just, for the sake of it, on election night, Joe Biden wins.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine, like, what the hell is going to go on?
Yeah, at least this time around, if that were to be the case.
Like, one is big-time short-term pain and one is big-time long-term pain. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, we're both. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Honestly, I don't know. I guess I'll go to Bovada and see what the odds are. And okay, let me ask you.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to win the presidential election?
Who do I think? I think the incumbent will win. I think. Joe Biden.
You really?
I do think Joe Biden will win.
I oftentimes think you think with your heart.
I do.
Okay.
I'm aware of it.
Okay.
That's
Well, yeah. So, but you're not betting.
Yes.
Like, if you're betting,
know.
although you did pick up Andre Palante on the waiver wires, and I saw that, and I go, "Oh, my sweet prince." That's what I thought.
So I haven't had a Cardinal.
But like everybody in our league, like there's no Cardinal available on the waiver wire.
I haven't gotten
There's a bunch of fucking heart pickers.
Yeah, Vaughn being one of them. I've been in this league 3 years.
Donald Trump is minus 120. Joe Biden is plus 130. Who do you think is third on the list?
Oh goodness.
You should be able to get there. Excuse me?
Red or blue?
I don't even fucking know, honestly.
Oh well, that changes where I'm at.
Once I say it, you'll be like, "Oh yeah." Okay. Robert Kennedy Jr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because he's running as one thing.
Right.
He certainly seems like the other.
Fourth, though. And fourth, say Robert Kennedy Jr. is plus 2,500.
Kamala?
Fourth. No. Not even in the top 6.
Oh, Jesus. Boy, I don't know. Newsom?
Ahead of Kamala, but not the answer. Plus 7,000.
Nikki Haley?
Ahead of Newsom, but not number 4. She's plus 5,000.
Hillary?
She's probably on here somewhere, but she is not.
The Rock?
I bet The Rock is on
I guarantee
here.
he's always on there.
He is.
Always sneaks
I always
on
like to see these and just like go, what the fuck?
Michelle Obama?
Tucker Carlson is plus 50,000. Michelle Obama plus 2,800.
I have to give credit to Ben the Butcher.
Oh, all right. Well, I tip you. Oh, Hillary Clinton is plus 25,000. I just skipped over it. So Trump's minus 120, Biden's plus 130.
Okay.
Robert Kennedy Jr. plus 2,500. I don't know.
Not having number 12 on the ticket probably hurt for him. I guess he's number 8 now.
What's that?
Aaron Rodgers saying he's not going to be his running mate probably hurt his odds.
God almighty. I mean, I don't know. I really, like, this isn't even like a Missouri thing, like betting the under on Missouri, which I think is such a great bet.
Yeah.
But there's no way in the world I'm betting it. You know what I mean? I think the under on Missouri is actually a better bet this year than the over was last year.
Oh, wow. So you feel more strong. Okay.
Again, it's not because I think they're bad. I'm just looking at it. I think there's going to be one sneaker team, and then in order for them to cover the over, they have to win 2 of 3 at College Station, at Tuscaloosa, one of 3 at College Station, at Tuscaloosa, at home against Oklahoma, and then win everything else. And just mathematically, that's why I'm like under on Georgia. It's not a shot at Georgia. I'm just like, the fuck? Georgia's over-under is 10.5 with the sickest schedule I think I've ever seen.
They have to go play Wisconsin, I think, in Madison.
I don't know. You're thinking of Alabama.
I'm thinking of Alabama, but Georgia has some crazy non-conference
They open up with Clemson.
Right. Okay. But that's neutral site?
Yeah, I'll get back to the presidential election. Don't worry. It's in Atlanta.
Okay.
But I mean, for both schools, that's basically neutral.
Yeah.
Clemson, Tennessee Tech. I think they also get UMass. The Minutemen they got a really rough one this year.
Taking a tour through the SEC.
After Tennessee Tech, though, at Sanford Stadium, they're at Lexington. Not to say they're at Tuscaloosa. They're at home against War Eagle. They're at home against Mississippi State. They're at Texas. I mean, they've already had non-home games against Clemson, Kentucky, Alabama, and Texas, and we haven't even gotten to the second half of the season.
Yeah, geez.
Then they have the cocktail party in Jacksonville.
Yep.
Then they go to Oxford.
Oh, Jesus.
And Oxford, Ole Miss is expected to be damn
High
good.
expectations for Ole Miss this year.
Then they're at home against Tennessee. Then they get our good friends from UMass.
Minutemen.
And then Georgia Tech. So if you think they're going to go 11-1, take the over.
Yeah.
And by the way, of course they could. But if you give me a choice on that one, whereas you're giving me a choice of Trump or Biden or whomever, and I'm going, I don't fucking know. I am shipping the under. And it's not because I think they're bad. It's just like I look at it. That's how I looked at Missouri last year. I think Missouri's better than people are giving them credit for locally. But on top of it, look at the fucking schedule. They're gonna be a one-loss team after they get out of September, barring a miracle. And they could be undefeated, as it wound up being the case with the K-State game.
Vandy, after the Vandy game.
So anyway, back to the election thing. I mean, for real, I could go, hey, here's the deal. We're taking $1,000 out of your account, and we're placing on one or the other. You gotta bet. You just got to. God. I don't know. Like, I really, truly believe they hop Joe Biden up on stuff when he has to do the State of the Union and debates.
Yeah.
I really do.
Kind of like a cortisone shot for your
for my slap tear.
Crafty lefty.
So I'm sure plenty of people who like only watch Fox News are like, okay, what's this about? You know, because he's clearly, you know, but like the State of the Union, he was like my buddies in Colombia in the late '90s, just like saying shit, and you're just like, whoa.
Maybe he was invigorated by Marjorie Taylor Greene putting a finger in his chest right from the get-go.
And then there's this revisionist history about what's going on over the last 4 years, and it doesn't matter whatever you present data-wise. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It just doesn't matter.
That's what I know.
It just doesn't matter. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I just, and I'm like, so therefore, if that is the case, and if the overriding principle is it doesn't matter, then what's going to happen in the next 5 months that's going to matter? You see what I'm saying?
Right. If already everything previous, it doesn't matter, then what new could happen? That's
the thing.
Yeah. I hear you. I mean, clearly the numbers didn't drop after what happened last week. They probably increased for DJT.
And like for me as a guy, as me, I guess it'd be good if Trump won. But I'm just like, I don't know how people. I don't know. I don't know how people have. I don't know. I'm just. And by the way, let me make this crystal clear. I'm not going, this Biden guy, how are you not on board? I get it. I would have taken all comers on bets. I'm like, there's no fucking way that these. I mean, I said it plenty of times on this podcast.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that this is going to be the election when it's all said and done. And now we're 5 months away from it. I'm going, I guess this is going to be it.
Yeah, time's ticking.
It is. And I'm just going, holy shit. And I hope, assuming our union survives, that like in 30 years, they'll be writing, like if there's social studies, whatever the hell it is, going, so in 2024.
I know we just spent 3 weeks on 2020, but let's get into 2024.
You know?
Yeah.
I just, for the life of me, I don't know. But I don't. But at the same time, I don't necessarily know anybody who's like really excited about it either. You know what I mean?
I don't know anybody personally.
Right.
Seems to be some people out there who are, but I don't know anyone personally.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm in awe of it. And whereas I guess in 2020 I had a big year from February 2020 to January 6th, 2021. Mm-hmm. I was calling shots left and right on this podcast. Mm-hmm. I've been off here because I thought one of them somehow would not be on the ticket.
Right.
Just one of them. And the thing is, by the way, whichever one is not on the ticket, I would tell you that's the party that will have the White House with a great deal of confidence.
Oh, right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
For both parties, yes.
Right.
But if both got taken off, then we're back to
right.
coin flip. Probably.
Right. Like if Nikki Haley won the nomination, Nikki Haley wins the White House.
Probably. Oh.
And if, I don't know who, because I don't think Gavin Newsom's as much of a lock as if you're like, into the data thing. Again, I say that knowing that that's not necessarily what it's about. But whomever, not Joe Biden, but not Kamala Harris either, they'd beat Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a little spot. Anyway, do with it what you want. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I guess therefore I would have to bet Donald Trump if I gotta bet. So you really believe You really believe
Do I
Joe
feel
Biden
strongly?
will win? You
No.
really believe? Like, here, I'm taking $1,000 out of the account. You're not getting it back until the election's over. We're placing it on Donald Trump or Joe Biden. This isn't Jackson hopes. This is Jackson thinks.
Yeah.
Like, really thinks.
Yeah, I'll bet Biden.
But we just talked about how if everything to date hasn't mattered, what could happen in the next 5 months?
Yeah, I know, but
Okay.
it didn't matter, and he still lost in 2020. Lost the popular vote in 2016. I'll go.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, God bless America. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a wonderful question. I mean, it's not like anybody's a big favorite or big underdog. It's minus 120 plus 130.
Yep. It's only our union that might be sacrificed because of it.
I don't know. I mean, deep down though, I'm like, okay, I don't think that something's going to happen. Like this is full steam ahead.
Yeah, for my film heads out there, placing a bet and winning on the presidential election, you have the same feeling as Brad Pitt in The Big Short when the two buddies were celebrating, and he turns and says, you just won money on the collapse of the American working class. Yeah. And have some respect. Yeah, that's how you would feel about.
That's nice. That's a nice reset right there. Let's see what we got here. Boy, we got an active YouTube chat. Is what we got. What program are you rebuilding in NCAA 2025, Jackson?
Great question.
Great question. It's Mike Gesicki, former Dolphins tight end.
Yeah, hell of a gritty. Missouri is obviously I'll be like starting out playing as, and once I conquer that, add another pillar to the columns, add another column to the columns. I used to go Toledo back in.
Oh, the Rockets.
Yeah, I like the
uniforms,
the glass bowl that they play in. I like that. I do like the uniforms as well. So I'd probably go back to my friends from Toledo, get some action going on, see if I can't build a program there. Hawaii is always a fun one to build a program with. Fresno State, shout out to Derek Carr. That's always a fun one to build around. So
I got to tell you something. My wife, who is friends with adult stars, Lisa Ann, Caden Cross, but truly does not like it. Like I'm not like covering for him, like she's
right.
Like when we get in bed, though we're going to be watching whatever. Just is not into it. Never has been either. And I'm obviously I'm accepting of it after 16 years. But boy, I'd really like it if she was. At the same time, I mean, what am I doing? Then I'm just getting hard off of I mean, it's probably not the best situation. But anyway, either way. As anti-adult as she is, likes the people that she's interacted with, doesn't care for the films. She is more anti-video games.
Interesting.
She's most anti-smoking.
Okay.
Because her grandfather passed from lung cancer. But she hates video and is on a quest to keep our two sons away from video games. And I'm just like, listen, let me tell you something, sister. You can fight the good fight all you want. I can tell you a couple things these kids are going to be doing over the next few years, and you're not going to want to think about it, but I just know it's coming.
Yeah.
And one of them's video games, and I'm not going to mention the other, but I'm just telling you, it's going to happen. You can't stop it.
No, it's inevitable.
Now, I have not engaged in video game activity in the 16 years we have been together, but this NCAA 2025 is going to put the man to the test.
Certainly, man.
And I'm telling you, she might come down to the basement and see me and Jameson playing NCAA 2025 and just be appalled, and I just might be at peace with it.
Yeah.
I am so tempted. But I just, like, when do I have the time? Like, realistically. But there are some times where I just need, like, I got an hour. I'm not going to go, I hit balls, plus it's fucking cold.
Right.
I just need to unplug. Like, the driving range for me isn't like, I got to fucking figure out how to hit this 7-iron further. It's unplugged. It's like a meditation for me. That's what it is. Or chipping or pitching or putting, whatever. That's what it is. An escape. And there's a part of me that's going, I might need to get on this train. It's the only thing that could bring me back. And I like when an article pops up about it, I'm clicking on it. I'm into it.
Oh, it's coming, baby. Weekends, if you wake up early enough, I don't know your home life, but if you wake up early enough, I know you're used to getting up early on the weekdays, even if you got up an hour later, you could theoretically have an hour right at the beginning. Cup of coffee and a dynasty is one hell of a way to start a Saturday.
Bill.
Maybe you tee off at 10:45, hang out with the family right after you've completed the first half of a season in 25, enjoy time with the family, and then tee off right after that. That's a great day. I don't care what anyone says.
I'm so good on my sleep schedule. It's so great, but that's the thing.
Yeah, it could fuck you up.
Yeah.
Late nights are also
like
open.
I'm like, oh fuck, I got a trip to Tuscaloosa next on the schedule. We just played so well against Auburn. Let's go.
I do that right now. I do that right now with FIFA, and it's like, oh, I got an FA Cup match against Man City. Like I have to play one more game. If it was a home playoff game for NCAA 25, I'm getting 4 hours sleep that night because I can't. It's so
it's like you're
fun.
presenting me with this drug, and I just can't get going on it.
As someone who's played video games from like the first thing I had was a GameCube and a Game Boy, which were very remedial compared to what you have now, to having a PlayStation 5 right now, I don't understand how people don't spend their entire days on it. Because the 1 hour, maybe 90 minutes I do it a day is not enough. I could keep playing forever. So when people are like, what do you, like it's Friday night, like my girlfriend's working late or something, and like people are like, you want to go to the bar? I'm like, yeah, I'll go for a little, but like
I got to get home to play
like
NCAA.
FC24 is just sitting there for me right now, and I haven't gotten like a good 2 hour session in a long time. Fuck, I want to do that.
I need some action.
So much fun, dude. Or like if you start playing Red Dead Redemption 2, like the greatest fucking Western movie ever, and turn it into a video game, it's crazy how good they've gotten. I know. You wanted me to tell you something else, but
here's the thing. I understand it, and I get it.
When during your poker talk, I was thinking back to young Jackson, who my siblings are 10 and 12 years older, respectively, and like I've said before many times, we're technically half siblings, but we're all love, and we're full siblings in my eyes. But they lived with their mom when they were in high school, so I kind of lived like an only child, but had brothers and sisters. It's kind of great. But I would play video games by myself all the time, and one of the games I loved playing when I first got an Xbox 360 was World Series of Poker 07.
I didn't even know there was a video game. What the fuck's the point of that? You're not playing for money, right?
No, you would just play like you were like starting your World Series of Poker career.
Oh, Jesus.
And like,
you don't play optimally if you don't give a shit.
Of course not. But like Phil Ivey in the video game, and Phil Ivey would call you
7 deuce off, but fuck it,
to come play at the Harris, and I would do it. I would also play NFL head coach, where you didn't get to play Madden, but you would call the plays, and someone else would do it.
I got to tell you, I could do that.
It was really fun.
I got to tell you,
because you're like a GM too.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah,
that could interest me. That's the other thing. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that would turn my wife on less than me starting to play video games would be me, because she comes downstairs and I'm watching the team that I built for my dynasty play.
Yeah, exactly. That's what NFL head coach was.
I can't allow this to happen as much as I want to.
Yeah. Dungy was on the cover. I remember it. You could like build your coach and you take over, but during the game you would just
gotta watch.
Yeah, you would just call the plays from the sidelines. It's really goofy.
Ben the Butcher's back with the future of TMA. I'm curious why you haven't made the switch to pull the plug then, as in taking it just to YouTube and an app. Is it because the infrastructure that Hubbard gives? I mean, to be real direct, I'm under contract. I mean, there's the answer. That doesn't mean that I'm leaving. That just means that I'm under contract, so it's not even in play at the moment. So that's the straightforward answer. But I guess if people heard me answer that and go, well, if it's that's there, then why not do it? I'm under contract till the end of this year. So there's the answer. It's a fair question, though, and I realize not everybody knows my contractual status. So, and then there's Derek Hudson right under. I assume one big difference is that Hubbard offers health care benefits. No. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't matter, but that's not. I mean, when with Inside STL, we had health care and 401ks. Taking it away from Hubbard and strictly to YouTube would mean having to pay for your own health care benefits. Either that is accurate, but, you're a business that It
goes back to the X's and Y's.
Right, yeah. I mean, you have enough revenue in order to provide 401ks and health insurance. That's certainly important. So no, but hey, I used to, I don't want to say get irritated, but I'd be like, man, I don't understand how people can sit here and speculate about my job and my career when they don't know what's really going on. And then I go, oh, all I do for my job and my career is speculate on what the Cardinals and Blues are doing, and I don't really know what's going on. Yeah. So I can't have two different sets of rules. This is the way that it works. I suppose I would prefer people go, yeah, Tim, what about this? But it's not the way that it works,
Yeah.
But I guess the difference is I make myself available to answer the questions.
Right.
And I even offer $200 bounties for hate mail, and I don't get them.
We are speculation specimens.
We are speculation. What price do you think I'm going to have to pay to get hate mail from somebody using their real email address?
At point, is at 200 seems like that.
I just can't believe it. All it took was $50 for me to lock Iggy out.
Yeah, right.
And I lose that on a tee shot in golf. You know,
If 200 doesn't do it, because it's literally, it would take someone 8 minutes.
Right.
Tops. That's like if you
it's
proofread it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but I guess the anonymity of the hatred is more valuable than the $200.
Or they don't want change. You know what I'm saying? Like they have their.
Oh, well, yeah, we already know that.
Right. There is a part of them that enjoys the hate of it. You know, it's an outlet. That's kind of how I always viewed like people who would personally attack me, not on this show, but just in general. Like, if I can be your outlet for all the other stuff in your life that you are angry about and you're going to direct it at me, okay, like that's cool. Like I will be that outlet for you. But what when you're saying this and you're tagging me, you don't actually want change. You just want an outlet to hate on something.
Right.
You know, that's how. And I'm not saying that anyone who hates on TMA or us are like losers with all this hate built up in them. But I'm saying that there's other things in life contributing to it.
Well, here is what I am saying.
Mm-hmm.
You already write, whether it be wherever it might be on social media or in your group text of hate, these things. Why not get $200 for it real quick?
Right.
I mean, you can just Control C and V that bitch, and then you got it.
$200.
But the only price is you got to use your real name.
Right.
And it strikes me.
Right. And when you read the hate mail, you will just read the first.
I'm not going to read the name. I wouldn't do that.
Right. So the only person whose your anonymity is blown to is you.
But I mean, doesn't that speak to how swole the clit is?
I'm thinking about hating on you so I can get $200.
$200?
Yeah.
Let me see what I got here. Tim Dillon is the best podcaster alive.
I don't know Tim Dillon. Is he related to Matt and Kevin?
Could be. I don't know. That's from the Neighbor Kid.
God, I love Johnny Drama.
Dotem's in there. I like him for the sole purpose of having the Hot Boys on his album, like big hit with the Jews at Parkway Central circa 2004.
Mac Miller had the greatest tweet, I thought, besides Andy Richter's, about being great time for being dumb and stupid.
Yes, I do love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was, dumb, angry, and stupid?
Dumb and mean.
Dumb and mean.
Dumb and mean.
That's it.
Yeah, that, and then Mac Miller was...
I mean, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Although, I would just, real quickly, I think a lot of the people portraying that they are, like they're appealing to the dumb and mean, by being dumb and mean, are actually smart and have just sold their souls.
Right. That's the key. Mac Miller once tweeted out that Jewish kids love basketball and underground hip hop, and I couldn't agree more.
It does seem to be accurate, and that's coming from a Gentile from South St. Louis that
and Mac,
didn't have a lot of exposure to Judaism.
Yeah, Mac, as a Jewish guy, knows. He knows better than that.
I didn't know he was Jewish, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what I got. In the modern era of TMA, well, we got a lot here. At some point, I'm going to have to land the plane. How long have we been going?
Oh, boy. We started around 11:25, so we're about coming up on 2 hours.
Jesus, boy, this one's been flying by.
An hour 57.
How about that? All right, I'm going to have to land the plane. In the modern era of TMA, is there something that truly bothers you? It doesn't happen as often as it used to, but saying you ran TMA bothered you, but what else truly grinds your gears? Also, I'm the Springfield mud tosser. Iggy was mad at him today? Is that right? I feel like Iggy was mad at somebody with the Springfield name today.
Oh, the mud tosser.
Was it the mud tosser? Okay, that's who Daniel Harris is. Thank you for acknowledging who you are. Tip my cap. Very bold, very brave. It's a brave podcast, Jackson. That's what we can call this one. You don't even have to send me the text. Perfect. It's a brave podcast, Jackson.
It's a brave podcast, comma, Jackson.
Yeah, the thing about it is, the honest answer is probably something I should not say publicly. And it's got nothing to do with like people on the show or anything that anybody would really all find that titillating. Truthfully, I don't even know if you know the answer to it. Probably only my wife does. Yeah, I don't know. I really do want to like say. I also don't know if I think people would appreciate it actually, but it's a tough spot. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like on the verge of like it's like I'm edging on YouTube today.
Gooning.
But there's just there's like I don't know what the upside is to like
0.
Yeah, thank you. Like Jackson's like 0. Acting as my agent here.
0.
And like yeah. It's just what else do you need? I mean it's 20 years. Yeah. It's advertisers who are loyal. It's bringing in what I know it brings in on HD2. It's like you know what, Zach, you brought up John Mayer coming on stage with Zach Bryan. Was this in L.A.? Was this in New York, L.A.?
Yep.
Was that at SoFi or was it the Forum?
Might have been Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, really?
Maybe. He's big enough to do any venue.
Oh, yeah.
there,
He did where the A's are playing in front of 1,200 people a couple nights ago. Yeah. And when he finishes off, I mean, this is very Zach Bryan centric, but I took my 6-year-old to see the show last month.
Crypto.
With my wife.
Crypto.com arena.
Oh, so it used to be Staples?
Yeah.
He always ends the show with Revival. And God, it's outstanding. It really is. As far as just like the energy, I don't even think you have to be a fan of it to recognize the energy of it. Didn't bring anybody up in St. Louis. I was counting on there being. I know he brought up Sexy Red, but she was just shaking her ass.
Yeah.
And I think brought her up earlier in the. But the night I went, there was nobody up there. I was like, I bet they bring up I figured it'd be Wainwright or something like that. It just made sense.
Right.
But anyway, neither here nor there. Still great. But brought up John Mayer. He's brought up like Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco, Bruce Springsteen in fucking Brooklyn, and I think Bruce Springsteen was in San Francisco the night before, appears in Brooklyn, obviously his neck of the woods, then goes back 6 hours to go to say, I mean, what the fuck?
That's a huge testament.
And I got motherfuckers like close to 80, but that's Zach Bryan and Bruce Springsteen. Springsteen doing 3-hour sets close to 80. I think he's like 76 or 7. I mean,
have you finished Curb yet?
I haven't.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't even talk about it.
I know.
We're on something on the Cold War, 9-part series on the Cold War on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where
you're
we
not.
are.
Yeah, you're not in the headspace. For
Yeah,
Curb.
well, no, we are, but it just doesn't show the appetite. I don't know. I might have to. This might be like the Bon Jovi thing. I might have to go on my own. Why the fuck am I talking about this? Oh, this probably does have people interested in where I'm going, so I got to make sure I follow the breadcrumbs back. He'll introduce the members of his band. Mm-hmm. Have you ever watched this? I know you didn't go to the show. Mm-mm. And he'll introduce members, and he came here to prove it, and then the guy just does a solo, whether it be percussion, guitar, bass, piano, whatever. And then they just do their thing. And it's kind of like, all right, I've proved it. Let's go. That's kind of
you've done your guitar
that's
solo.
Enough.
Yeah.
We're not doing I'm not doing the dance. I'm not doing the dance. I'm past dancing.
Yeah.
I don't dance.
Right.
And if you want me to dance, I'll go dance else. That's where I am. That's where I am. And that's just, we're done. We can't even do the, that's, I know I'm speaking in codes and hand gestures, but it's just kind of like an algebra. But fortunately, it's kind of like, if you think I need to prove it, I don't really need to. I'm going to go do it. But it just is kind of like, all right, let's move along here. And that's even though I don't think anybody knows what the fuck I'm talking about. That's the headspace I am. But yeah, I love and have loved doing TMA. I love doing this. I would love to do some additional things that would be, I guess, under the umbrella of the Tim McKernan Show with interviews, like we talked about doing like a series of 10 interviews. I would love that. Even if I didn't make that much money, I would just love doing it. So I'm a workaholic. I wish in a way I wasn't, but I am. And it's like, okay, you kind of know who you are. Swing your swing is what my instructor tells me. It's like, all right, so you don't hit it this way, but fuck what you do. You get the ball in the hole effectively, swing your swing. Yeah. So, I kind of know, I think, what I'm decent at and what I'm not, so don't fuck with that stuff. Mark Hanna, sponsor of the program, talks about unique talents.
Yep.
Find your unique talents, accept what you are. I was listening to an interview, Bill Maher with Steven Van Zandt. You might know him as Silvio Dante.
Yeah, Will Stevie from the E Street Band.
And he was promoting his book. Maher was on his podcast, which was so awkward. I felt like it was such a hard push with his book. It was awkward. But anyway, neither here nor there. Little Steven was saying how much he enjoyed his first book, which was actually a fiction. And he goes, "How come you didn't make that into a movie?" And he goes, "I could have." He goes, "I'm better at doing this type of comedy, not script type of comedy. I can focus on one thought process, not like the thought process of like 12 people in a story to advance them. And I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not." And I go, God, that's such a good thing. That's Doug Vaughn. When we talk about Doug Vaughn Nirvana, when Hadley was talking about, "Hey, big boy, I think it's time for Dougie to build his brand." And I'm going, okay, I'm pretty certain Doug has zero interest in this, but, I'm happy to discuss it with him. And he goes, oh, God, no. God, no. I know what I am, you know? And I'm like, especially in our industry.
And nowadays.
Oh, my God. Where everybody could be the next Costas, Joe Buck, whomever, you know, and is just getting fucked because they're not.
Yeah, and plowed.
I mean, there's just like another example of why Doug is the greatest. Just to be, you know, and this was like 5 years ago. It's just like, I remember getting off the phone on that and going, God, that's so rare. Like, you know, for every one of those, there's like 1,000. Like, yeah, it is time for me to have
your moment. Speaking of Little Stevie.
Yeah.
Something that's coming soon, very soon, and something, probably the first documentary I'm really excited about, or docuseries since The Last Dance. They're doing a very deep introspective on David Chase and how he created The Sopranos, featuring a ton of behind-the-scenes footage, audition tapes.
Who's doing this?
HBO.
Ben, that's going to be outstanding. At least it should be.
Right. You know.
Yeah, I figure HBO has to have
They're
it.
doing a premiere. I saw this because Meadow and AJ, Jamie Lynn Sigler and Robert Eiler, have a podcast, and they're going to New York for the first 2 episodes, and there's like going to be a panel with Edie Falco and some other people. Dominic Chianese, who played Uncle Junior, who's still alive, which is incredible, who's also in Godfather 2. And so they're like doing this roundtable, and it's apparently coming out on HBO very soon. So I cannot wait to see that, because he's like the most untapped part of that, because it's all from his mind. He was a one man.
When is that coming out?
I can find out.
God, I'm legitimately intrigued by that.
When I heard that, I was like, holy shit, that's going to be awesome. Because, I mean, you know, the stories of how that show was made, and, you know, there's the great story of a real mob boss called him late at night, or maybe it was Gandolfini late at night, and said, love the show, it's amazing, it's perfect, except the Don doesn't wear shorts.
Yes,
and then in the show, Tony Lip, who played Carmine Lupertazzi, says, by the way, heard John was at the barbecue. The Don doesn't wear shorts. And it's just beautiful.
All right, I'm going to read all the comments. We've had a great audience. I've enjoyed the podcast here today, so God bless. See if anything... I used to ride a horse for like 3 hours in a video game. Ben the Butcher?
Red Dead 2.
Red Dead 2 is the best piece of media ever made. Neighbor Kid, this is podcasting, not nom. There are rules. Give me $20 and I'll blow your spot up. Toot sweet. Ben the Butcher, how could anyone hate you? I assume that's directed toward me. I don't know. I get it. I actually do get it. What I don't get is just sending me an email for $200. That's the part I don't get.
Yeah.
Ben the Butcher says it's probably the hog. What do we?
It's called Wise Guy.
That's the name of the thing they're going to be doing?
Wise Guy, David Chase.
Tell me this is coming out soon.
I don't have a release date just yet, but they are playing at the Tribeca Film Festival, which is starting today.
Oh, wow.
So it goes to the 16th.
So it's done then?
Yes, it's done. But it's premiering at Tribeca.
And is it a series of episodes, or is it one shoot?
It looks like a 2-hour and 40-minute documentary.
Oh.
And I guess they're breaking up into parts.
Oh.
Because they're not showing.
So everybody's going to rewatch The Sopranos and then watch this.
I'm in constant rewatch of The Sopranos. Like I just watched Long Term Parking, which is where Adriana. Spoiler alert!
Jackson.
3, 2, 1 gets murdered.
Oh wow!
I gave proper warning.
Unbelievable.
And it's just like one of the greatest pieces of television ever. Like it's fucking amazing.
I will say, being a troll doesn't sound like it could be a good time. Does sound like it could be a good time occasionally. That's from MD 2020. Alexander Colton says, Tim, I'll hate mail you right now. I'm hurting for money. Don't care about you knowing my name, considering it's right there. And he's pointing to his name. It was Crypto Arena, where the Lakers play, Sam Hazeltine. I'm seeing him in Vegas on Friday, hoping for somebody huge for revival. In Vegas, you'll get it, Sam Hazeltine. Hazeltine? Hazeltine.
Oh, I got a release date.
Oh, what do you got?
Looks like...
Give me something good. Give me something good.
Oh, it's good. June 13th.
Oh, my God.
That's when I got...
Week from tomorrow?
Per IMDb, June 13th, 2024 is the release date.
Oh.
That might be when it... That might, now, just to... In case I'm wrong here, that might be when they're playing it at Tribeca. That might be.
You said they were playing it tonight, or you said the film festival.
Tribeca's film festival starts tonight, but that might be when they're like showing it at Tribeca. Yeah, that could be, but I don't know. Yes, it is.
Sam, you'll be in
I fucked up.
You'll be in good shape for Revival on Friday night in Las Vegas. I am actually thinking about seeing that show again. He's still touring. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Was it really good?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to get into a totally different topic.
I really want to see him
land the plane.
Yeah, I'll quickly. I really want to see him perform that song with the Lumineers, the Spotless. I think that's a beautiful song.
Yeah,
off his most recent
not
album.
do that in St. Louis.
I assume because he needs the Lumineers there to do it.
Yeah, but when he's done for some, he just he'll play the Casey Musgraves or Maggie Rogers part.
Right.
He'll bring in a female local.
Yeah, that
and I don't believe he played either of those at the show I went to. He did do the Casey Musgraves one. I don't know if he brought in that was the Friday show with Sexy Red. And I don't know, I didn't see it, so I don't know if he brought a female up who was like a local artist. I was watching the TMA YouTube when the wacko said he had fucking money. Not sure if you dumped out of that or if the FCC rules apply the same. Yes, Jackson dumped out of it for the radio broadcast. I mean, this is great that this has happened. Because when I started in radio, there was a story in the Post-Dispatch about Tom Ackerman accidentally saying shit on the air. I mean, there's a story in the Post-Dispatch. And it's one of the things, I just really appreciate that this dumb shit about using profanity is just kind of over. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Again, it's kind of it's not dogma religion-wise, it's just dogma of things that when you think about them, they don't make sense, which I guess is dogma. And that we've moved on. Mm-hmm. It's just, it just was, he said, fuck, he could be in trouble. And it's like, yeah, nobody really cares anymore. I mean, some do. But again, if you care about me saying fuck, this isn't for you. Right. So it's like a weeding out process.
Yeah, there would be no one who's like, I love Tim McKernan, I just hate when he cusses. Like, that person does not exist.
But people used to associate the use of profanity with whether or not that person had good or bad character. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I kind of enjoy that is diminishing with time. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think the only way to truly piss you off is questioning your work ethic. Just an observation, no clue, though. No. I mean, I appreciate the thought, tip of the cap, because, again, you're putting your name on it. But I don't know how to describe it. Like, to me, there's no question, so it wouldn't, you know what I mean? Right. Like, in order for something to piss you off, it has to be something that hits close to home that bothers you.
Yeah, an insecurity. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm actually asking for it. Even though I know there's a cottage industry of hating on me or whatever, the show or whatever, I don't know, whatever the hate is.
Yeah.
So that's like, yeah, you say I don't have a good work ethic, say TMA is not popular. I mean, it's just like, say balloon party's no good. I mean, you can say all of these things, but then I'll go, well, here are the numbers. Or, it's like, you're welcome to say it, but I have the data. And therefore, it doesn't matter, Like, mm-hmm. You're welcome to say it, and even if the angle is to try to piss me off, I respect that, but that's why it's not going to piss me off.
Yeah.
So I know, if anything, I have a feeling in however many years, I'm going to look back and go, God, I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard. Probably when my kids are grown, that's when it probably will hit. Like right now, I'm debating on taking vacation. I mean, I took one day this past week. And it's not always nice because I'm so glad to have you back, which is more like a way of like shitting on the people who are here. Correct. You agree? Because you're one of the people who are here.
I see it.
But I mean, one day, and we're debating whether or not to go. Like my wife and I are supposed to go out of town. And I'm like, it's just 3 days. I don't even know how to handle it. And then with my family going out of town, my parents, that is, and I'm like, I guess I got to just take that's why I keep asking you about the Airlink thing mm-hmm. that communicates when I'm remote. Because if I go, it's like, I guess I got to do the show, which means I'm working until noon each day of a vacation. And it's like, well, then it's not really a vacation. I'm just going out of town.
Right. You're just doing the show for a different location.
So and I'm like, in 10 years, when my older son is getting ready to go to college, I guess, in a way, I kind of hope he doesn't. Not because I want him like close to home, but just I kind of hope that dogma goes away too, which I think it is. that I'll be like, I can't believe that I didn't go on a family vacation to make sure I did the show. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's like what you value, like what you're putting, like this, like concern level, like right now. You don't want to look back on that in 10 years and be like, I shouldn't have been concerned.
Right.
You know.
But I mean, Tommy and I don't meet often. Tommy Mattern. But I mean, he really wanted to talk it through. The one day both me and you are going to miss on TMA. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But that isn't a great way for a, it's one day where we're both gone. And it's like, and I'm like, God, I honestly don't know. I still don't. As we sit here, I have no idea. What is a week from Friday that we're both going to miss? And I don't know. I don't know what the hell we're going to do. I don't know what to say also. But I mean, I also want to be able to, like, I have this vacation. I still have like 67% of it left. And I'm going, I can't take it. I mean, and by the way, he's like, do it.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
It's not because of Hubbard at all. It's because I just have this thing. I'm like, I don't know. You don't know. I know you don't know. Because you're.
Yeah, I can't be in your
Yeah,
shoes.
and I honestly don't want you to ever know, actually, because it's not necessarily good. So by the time you have 2 children, which I think could be the next 4 years, that I want you to just be like, yeah, I'm going to take vacation. And even if I'll be like, oh, fuck, externally, and as sincerely as I can, I'll be like, enjoy the fuck out of it and don't think twice about it, because I never want anybody who's associated with things I'm associated with to be like worried about work when they're on vacation.
Yeah.
That's like one of my 10 commandments, so to speak, of how I try to.
Because that's sustainability. You're only sustainable if you're like can allow yourself to unplug completely from work.
Yeah, which is why Tommy wants me to take the vacation. He's like, dude, we already worry about you burning yourself out as it is.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Because
the only way to avoid burnout is having sustained moments of total disconnection from work.
Right.
Not even answering an email about something.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I had a guy. He was like, I literally turn my phone off on the weekends. And I'm like, I can't even imagine. I mean, I can't even.
With kids, I assume that's going to be very difficult to have that happen. But
well, I think he maybe had one phone for like work stuff, and then
the bat phone.
The bat phone. Let's see. All right, I'm landing the plane. Or his height, Ben the Butcher. No, when people mock my height, I'm just like, I brought up Bill Maher a few minutes ago. It's like when he used to make fun of Chris Christie for being fat. I'm like, you're so clearly intelligent. This isn't like a political thing. It's just like you're so like you're
funnier than that.
That's what it is. It's like
that's like what you'd expect out of insert comedian you don't like here,
or like a comment section.
Yeah.
With like a hillbilly. It's just like I don't know what to say. My genes didn't allow me to grow tall.
And also, first of all,
I don't know what to say.
The person fell for the trap. I always reference Eminem at the end of 8 Mile. If you list everything that people could make fun of you for, they got nothing left to make fun of you for. Secondly, you're not that fucking short. Like
you gotta stop with that.
I almost said on 101 today, I was like, but again, I was like, we have this whole ruse going here, so I gotta keep it going. But you're really not that short at all. Like I referenced a buddy of mine who was legitimately short, and you would.
And how tall is this gentleman?
5'3".
Oh, really? Boy, that is tough.
Bad beat.
That's tough.
It sucks. Bad beat, but you would tower over him.
I don't know. Yeah, but I'm not talking about like the height thing. Like, so I'm talking about like when somebody like does it. Like, there's the person who does it often, who I actually do think is hilarious. Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of like, God, that's like your one like. Yeah, it's like it's just like, and like I guess I gotta like laugh to like it's like Tom Brady at the roast. Like he's like, it's not that funny, but I gotta laugh because I gotta show that it doesn't bother me. But I'm just like, dude, it's just like dumb. Yeah. And you're fat. So
one can control one thing to an extent.
But like I can't say anything about that, which is so fucked up to me.
Yep.
But whatever. I don't know. It's a very odd thing. But again, I don't know. It's not about like, I can't believe he said that about my height. I'm just like, oh, you're better than like Bill Maher. You're better than making fun of Chris Christie for being fat. It's
right.
I mean, we're playing at a higher level here than like fat jokes and height jokes. You know what I mean?
Like, in theory, Chris Christie could lose weight. There is no way outside of putting those rods into your legs in China that you are going to get any taller.
Yes, which I'm seriously considering. That's what the vacation's really about. Family be damned. I need to get that surgery in China. Can you imagine if I came back with a full head of hair at 6'1"?
I'd piss myself right in this exact seat because you walk in every morning, say hello, insert.
Usually call you cum dumpsters or something like that.
One time he called us like seed wizards or something, and I really liked that one. But if you came in and like had to duck under the doorway when you're flowing,
oh my
like
God,
Fabio,
I would just do the show remotely from Napoli.
I would piss myself right where I sit here, because especially if you like deadpanned it and didn't say anything about it, just sat down like it was normal.
Yep.
You know, podcast playing from your phone. Yeah.
Do they still have softcore porn on TV? What was that whole thing about? Who got off to softcore? I don't know if that was for me or that was for a text. That's Ben the Butcher. I don't know. I guess it's got to be on, like Skinamax. That was the going little joke.
Yeah, but like there's like on DirecTV, I remember the 500 channels, so 500 through like 550 were the movie channels, like HBO, Stars, Showtime, Cinemax. And I used to watch as a kid. Nowadays, they all like, why would I not stream them? Like, why would I go on a cable television trying to watch a movie? You know, like, I have to catch Jurassic Park halfway through, or I could stream it on HBO Max.
It is nice
from
that
the
that
beginning.
doesn't exist. I just want to be able to watch Cardinal games with ease. Like I was at a place where I could just grab the remote and click on a channel, and I go, oh.
Yeah. Anytime I go to my parents' house, it's like that. I'm like, sweet release. This is amazing.
We're landing the plane at 10,000 feet. Daniel Harris once more. I appreciate that, Daniel. Everyone use all vacation days. That's from Chuck Vindaloo. Ben the Butcher says, if you died today, your job would replace you by the end of the week. Take care of yourself. That's Ben the Butcher. Yeah, that's kind of a theme on these TikTok things that pop up. Yeah, it's my deal though, fortunately, is different.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Here's the other thing. I should include this. I mean, we're traveling with a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, so it's not like my wife and I are considering going to Bora Bora.
Yeah, it's not pure.
To like fuck for a couple weeks and gamble and play golf. Right. So it's not. There's some push and pull, juice and squeeze analytics. I want to be clear on this.
Right.
But I am like, if we were to go for what the trip is booked for, I'd be doing 8 shows from, the background, like last week with last year, where I was doing from Harbortown. And occasionally some balls were pulled over there.
Yeah.
I mean, let's straiting it out, people. That's very OB.
Hole 1, you're off to a bad start.
I mean, let's get away. Although Rory McIlroy pulled it over there.
Did he?
Yeah. I was texting my parents. I go, are you guys up at the green right now? Because they're showing the back of your place, and it was fucking Rory McIlroy. Yeah. I mean, A, that's really short, and B, it's really bad. Like, what in the fuck was going on there?
I feel like his miss is kind of left based on his swing.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big draw player. I love that hat, by the way. That's a really good Harbortown cap.
Why do people have to... thank you very much.
I like that.
That was from my, I guess, my sister's husband, which means brother-in-law. Thank you. It's weird for me to say that.
I guess, yeah.
Because I guess I've never really had one.
You have one sister. And
my wife's an only child.
Yeah, got it.
So, yeah, I've never had a brother-in-law. Son of a bitch, I have a brother-in-law. Yeah, that's what he got us for the wedding.
Very nice.
If you died today, we already did that one. Why do people have to come into the office while I'm trying to hang with the boys on YouTube? Tired of it. That's Eric Nickens.
Just ignore him.
Love you, boys. Guess I should get back to work. That's Ben the Butcher. Haha, thank you, Eric. Do they not know what time it is? Yeah, it's QFTA time. We went more than 2 hours today.
2:22.
God, my wife texted me at 11:28. What all do you have going today? I haven't answered.
Text back.
I've been
nothing.
Bullshitting with people.
Yeah.
What have we talked about? This is a very brave I don't like to use word. Very is a lazy word. This is a brave. This is a brave podcast, Jackson.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Time. May I finish? She texted me too, Eric Nickens. I could see that. I could see you texted. I could see my wife being a fan of Eric Nickens' work. Was it his birthday yesterday? It was John Scores.
John Scores, yeah. Not to be confused with the brothers, John and Dean Ellis, who coached the Bruins and the Leafs, respectively.
All right, we're going to land the plane. How would we go? 2 hours and 30 minutes? 2 hours and 20 minutes? 2
hours and about 20, 2:20.
Thank you to the sponsors of the podcast. Longo Big Studio sponsors online at longobigs.com. Thanks to Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Thank you to Seth Goldcamp, Design Air Heating and Cooling, Jamie Burkhardt, and Peter Munganess, and Ryan Seiberg at Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, and the great James Carlton. 367 5-star reviews. You horse plowing me? No. That's what he's got. That's because people appreciate the customer service that he and his staff provide. James Carlton at carltoninsurance.net. net. I'm in college. I am the only one that's heard of TMA. Have you tried targeting my age group or kind of just say F 'em? No, not at all. This Daniel Harris. This guy, keep an eye on this Daniel Harris.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, you're not a fan?
No, I am, of that last point. Like, I mean, I listened when I was in high school.
You were an outlier, though.
Yeah, I understand.
This goes back to the same thing. This Daniel Harris. I don't know. Maybe Daniel Harris is just using a different name, and he's always been around. I just don't remember him. Usually the ones who are active, I kind of remember the names on the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
On the Tim McKernan show, anyway. Astute questions. Yeah, it's a miss for the show right now. But that doesn't mean it's like Jackson's fucking up. You know, it's just how do you introduce the show to people who are younger? Social media, without question. And maybe that's an issue that I need to tend to on my end. I mean, maybe I need to come out of retirement on social media. It's just I'm like to show my life. I'm showing my kids, right. And I don't really want to show my kids.
Right. Or dance.
Know? Or dance. Do dance routines. Like, what the fuck could I do? Or give like takes, like when the Cardinals blew the lead against the Astros 2 nights ago, and like just start screaming about Ali Marmol because I'm required to do a podcast about it. I can't do that. You know what I mean?
You could do cooking demonstrations.
Can't do that. I can't cook for shit.
Okay. Well, this is why you start getting. This is how you get the video game system. You start streaming on Twitch
with like Manuel,
and then you tell your wife, "This is work. This is how I put food on the table." And then she can't question, and no one can bother you, and you have your video game. I just killed 2 birds with 1 stone.
My grandpa is Frank DeLange. I'm real. Don't question me, pal.
Okay, easy. I don't know who your grandpa is.
Whoa. You got to know Frank DeLange. I mean, he's got multiple city championships as a coach at St. Gabriel's.
Oh, okay. Hey, and God bless him. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy. I've never heard of him.
Wow. You call yourself a basketball fan.
I didn't. Usually not of grade school. That's nowhere near where I grew up. But regardless of that, he's saying I'm in college and I'm the only one that's hurt. But like only one at your college, we don't know. Like are you representing all college age people? I can tell you that there are people in your age group that listen to TMA. You are not the only one.
But you agree with my sentiment.
Yes, 100%.
That if we did more with social media,
that's the way to target.
The show experienced a boom circa 2013 to 2016 because of the podcasting.
Yeah.
Because while the olds were still listening to it on the radio, like Doug talks about it. I mean, I don't have it as much as he probably does, but like, yeah, I miss you guys on the radio. I'm like, you know.
Right. If you really missed, like, you could find
right, but I mean, it's like they don't know.
Sure.
And I'm not like, why don't you know? I'm like,
Right.
That's what I go, I'm not going to like, you know, there's actually, you know, or when somebody goes, my card is on HD2, I go, like, that's not, you know, that's not what it is. But we were ahead of the curve on the podcasting thing. I guess we were ahead of the curve on this type of show, even though it struck me as very obvious. I don't think like the creation of TMA was really like, oh, brave. This is a brave podcast, Jackson.
Yeah.
It was just kind of obvious. I suppose we were willing to go to places that other people weren't willing to go.
Yeah, but it's a far cry from like Netflix.
Right. Yeah. You know, it was just like, there's a market for it. Nobody's doing it. Oh, we'll do it.
Yeah, but disruptor nonetheless.
I guess. And I guess then the establishment kind of shit on it because I probably deep down, honestly, they're like, oh, fuck. They saw their mortality, really. Mm-hmm. That didn't mean everybody went away, but it just was like, okay. But that doesn't mean just because something new, then all of a sudden you got to start doing it. Like I'm not dancing on TikTok.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It'd be a dark day when.
But if somebody like, what was it? We were going to get $5,000 today for Doug to take his shirt off. Like if I'm Doug, I do that all day long. And here's the thing: there's not a doubt in my mind he was thinking about it.
100%.
Absolutely was.
$5,000.
So if somebody said to me, "I'll give you," I don't know what it was. Like you saw $50 was instantaneous. I locked Iggy out. Yeah. Again, I've been on a bit. That's why my handicap's up. I've been losing money on the golf course. Right. And this fucking high school bookie I work with. God almighty. Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's like, hey, you know, I'm good for it. You don't need to like shake me down. You know, can we just like have like if I don't want you to pay me until I get to a certain point either. Yeah. Like I'm up $200. Keep it.
He'll
You know?
put a gerbil carcass
But I mean,
in your mailbox.
it's a thing. It's like, I think what he doesn't want me to do is like, I know what I want to do. I want to build it up so I can fire some big bullets.
Yeah.
But I don't want the $200. Keep it. But then he always Venmos me the $200. That's what happens when you're betting with a high school bookie. But if somebody said to me, and it got to a number, and I don't know what the number would be, I'm not saying it's $50, like for a month, like you become who, I don't even know if we have them local, I'm sure we do, but like with an actual material following, show your life, I would do it. You know, and I think my wife would be on board. But it's got to be like a certain number. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what the number is. All I know is $5,000 is going to get Doug's shirt off today. I know that. And part of me thinks he might have done it for $500. I just stopped him before he agreed to it because I know he could have gotten more.
If there was $5,000 cash in my hand, I'd say, Doug, it's yours if you take that shirt off and do the rest of the show.
Oh, my God.
He's popping that top without even question.
So if you want me to turn into like the real house husband of Kirkwood, with just like holding up my phone, here it all is.
Yeah, meet the McKernans.
Meet the McKernans. Here I am beating off.
Yeah. Here's the pillow over my face at 9:15 p.m.
Right.
Driving range.
Here's my son who didn't birdie a hole at 6 who's pissed. You know, have at it.
Yep.
I just think, I mean, here's the reality of it. No, I can't say that. Catch myself. Yeah, I guess people would watch. You know, but what the fuck do I get out of it? I get whatever the money is.
Yeah, right. If the money's there.
What would you do that for? But you don't have the kid expense. By expense, I'm not talking about the actual expense of having children. I think of like making my children public.
You have lives to
That's
protect.
what I think about. Like I say, like Riz calls his son and daughter the boy and the girl.
Yeah, you have people's lives you are entrusted to protect.
But at the same time, you know, I mean, it's not like, you know, it's not like I'm Michael Jackson or something and I'm got blanket with a blanket over his head.
That'd be an interesting turn.
I mean, how fucked up was that? What was more fucked up? He took Emmanuel Lewis as a date to the Grammys, or he had his son walking around with a blanket with 2 little eyes cut out for years?
Well, that or holding them,
holding them over the balcony and like giggling.
That's the answer. Holding your child over the balcony.
I still think taking Webster is live.
Yeah, well, if what happened in that documentary is the case, then yeah, that's the answer.
Okay.
If that's not the case, I'll take holding your infant child over a balcony, I guess in France, where
I think it was. Parlez-vous.
Paris.
Thank you.
I think
so. All right, now there's this secret girlfriend of yours, and you know we have a social event after member guests.
That's right.
You don't have to come because I don't usually go, but you know.
But there's like a dinner thing, right?
Yeah, it's legitimately nice.
Yeah, it's probably stay for a little bit. Yeah,
all right.
She might come by.
Well, then I'm gonna have to meet her.
She would love that.
Is she creeped out by me?
No, she likes you. She listens. No, she likes you.
Well, you're uncomfortable when I call. That's fine. I call.
I'm telling you, she likes you.
Dealer, that's fine. Dealer.
She'll tell you in person. Hopefully next week.
Plenty of people tell me they like me to their face, and then they're motherfucking me elsewhere.
She's not that kind of type.
Well, I'm not saying she is, but how much was it cost? What are you?
So
what
am I doing?
You're just holding up your phone, and everything's fair game, minus like fucking and shitting and beating off.
Right. Even though that's what would really get people going.
Right.
Everything. Oh Lord. You know.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's there.
Right.
It would be there. There was somebody right before we started doing this 7 hours ago.
Jesus Christ.
There was
almost 2
somebody I saw. It was scrolling through TikTok. I love it.
Great.
My wife goes, "You shit on social media, yet you're always on." I go,
That is Wayne. That's Wayne Knight in Jurassic Park. When they try getting into the computer, it's him going, nah, nah, nah.
It's Eddie Murphy playing the role of the Jewish gentleman in the Coming to America barbershop.
That's a good call.
It's exactly what that was.
God, I love Coming to America.
Yeah,
especially
exactly
to see it MSG.
Predates you by 10 years, and you know it. I said, I don't post on it, and I don't look at like, you know, Twitter and Facebook. I love TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I love.
Yes.
And I look for Ella Reese to post non-hiking videos pre whatever the fuck just happened here in the last 48 hours.
There are people who are unbelievably talented who put all of their stuff predominantly on TikTok. Like that's their
thing.
That is
but I think it's going away. Like the people I listen to when it comes to business and economics, because that's kind of my nerd thing, which I guess it should be at this point in my life. They're just like, yeah, it's going to be going away.
Sure.
I mean, but I hope it doesn't.
No,
I
hope not.
For my own selfish reason, not for like it's in my portfolio. I don't believe it's eligible to be in the American portfolio right now.
Right, but the cat's out of the bag already. There is a huge demand
market for those kinds of reels.
So
anyway, either way, that's what you're doing. And anyway, so what I was so there's the huge following, and I kind of know the person, kind of, and I'm like, what the fuck? This person has this huge following, and it's not like they're like an on-air or media or whatever personality.
Yeah,
I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Yeah, I mean, we might be talking about the same person. I don't know. No, we're not, because Herb.
I wish. That'd be awesome. That would be great.
So if all of a sudden, I mean, because here's fine, I'll say it. Fuck it, because it is true. Yeah. I know with my wife's appearance that helps the cause.
Oh yeah, for Meet the McKernans.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if like if her looks were on par with my looks, Meet the McKernans we're gonna have a lower ceiling. I mean, that's the game, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
Unless you have the beard.
Then the beard, all of a sudden, now I'm back up.
Yep.
So there's that. But I mean, hey, there are times when take your pick of whichever one of those boys is going batshit, and here I am with the phone, and it's going up on.
Oh God, parenting TikTok.
Like the real shit.
Yeah.
Not the so great, so blessed to be out on this beautiful day. We're so lucky to be tailgating at the Paddlehawks game.
Over like a Kalani song or something. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that 100%. Yeah, if it's Meet the McKernans,
and
it's gonna show the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
I mean,
Yeah, that's gonna
you see, you don't have that.
Right.
That's
I don't give a fuck about it.
That's the thing. Meet the McKernans. When we first got together through 2016,
put the camera on
holy
me,
shit!
pay me.
Oh my God, you wouldn't have believed it. It was the greatest.
Yeah, there actually could have been something there.
Oh yeah, holy shit! But it would have come off as like humble bragging shit. But that's what it was. It was good shit because I was so stupid with my money that we're just like living in Las Vegas, living in Jupiter. That was what we do. Not doing anything with the money, just spending it like a total fucking dumb shit. So now it's parenting, it's golf, it's getting up early, falling asleep early.
Black coffee.
Loving the black coffee. Like hearing noise above and going, oh, fuck, somebody's up. Guess I get, oh, fuck, somebody's up.
Yeah, let's go investigate.
No, let's hope they don't come downstairs to disturb my serenity. That's what it is. So you don't know this shit
Your
yet.
serenity's gone if you have to constantly like have a quota of posts a day. That part would be annoying to me. Like, it's like
what is that worth? But here's the thing: who the fuck's going to pay for it? Like, whatever it's worth, it ain't going to get. We're not going to get there.
Yeah.
But like, let's say it's $10,000. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, I might go, yeah, and then I go home, and she'll be like, "What are we doing?" No,
annually or like monthly?
Just for like the 1 month experiment.
Oh, $10,000? Yeah, I'll do it.
I know you would, but I'm running my P&L is different because of the children factor.
Yeah, I get that.
Not just the like here they are, but here they are, and now
habitat,
right.
Yeah.
And which is tough for them. That's the actual issue. It's not like I already know what I got. I already know what hand I'm holding here. Mm-hmm. But like, Jameson, I saw you, freaking out over your Legos break.
And then, 20 years later, he's got to deal with it.
See what I'm saying? That's the metric I'm running here.
Yeah, yeah. At that point, then there just isn't a number because it won't get there. And for me though, they say $10,000 for a month of doing, Jackson's diary, and I just post everything I do. Sold. I'll do it.
You're in $10,000.
For $10,000, yeah. For a month, yeah.
What about $1,000?
For 1 month, no.
Okay.
No, I'll grind. I can do something else to make $1,000 a month. Not saying I.
What about 5,000?
Yeah, I'm in. $5,000, I'm in for a month.
See, the thing is, I don't think you have enough shit.
Right. I don't think it'd be interesting. I don't think it'd be interesting at all. Like it'd be the antithesis.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. But if someone's just like going to give it to me, then yeah, I can meet.
Like for me, it's putting the man to the test. Like they're shoving, and I think I'm ahead in the hand, but I'm now put to the test because if I call and I'm wrong, I'm out of the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, unless people like want to watch David Fincher movies with me, it's going to be pretty fucking boring.
I mean, my metric on this shit is, like, I'd love, like, because I do have some stuff that's relatively interesting, would be hashtag engaging.
Engaging and evergreen.
Nice. But I'm like, I know it could come off like X, Y, or Z, which it actually isn't, but this just happens to be what I am doing at the moment.
Yeah, so where's the upside?
That's why I'm a gift depot.
Yeah, you're right. So the upside is the money, the downside is exponential. So yeah, I get that. So what is the upside, aka dollars, that would allow for the exponential downside to be a risk that you would take? And I don't know if that dollar figure exists or is in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's not to say that you are like, filthy rich, but that's to say that like you put a lot of price on the.
Sure, 100%. I'm on my time. You get to, that's the other thing. And the family thing is there isn't really a price. That's where it gets down to. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, when we go back to how we started talking about this, the social media thing, like for me to just all of a sudden start giving takes on Twitter on the Cardinals, it would be so fraudulent because I just don't get worked up about that stuff. I get
regular season wise.
I mean, occasionally I get worked up. Like I truly was something we didn't talk about, and Iggy kind of brought it up briefly. Was the Pat McAfee, Stephen A. Smith, Monica? I really do feel strongly about that, but not because of like a take on Kennedy. What was her name? Who knocked Caitlin Clark over?
I want to say Carter.
And Angel Reese's reaction, and like giving a take on that. It was the media element of it.
Kennedy
Carter. That's what I felt strongly about.
Right.
But I'm not like, I got it out for Pat McAfee, or I got it out for Stephen A. Smith, or I got it out for Monica McNutt. I got it out for the model of our industry, which I think is playing a role in poisoning our country. And I really do feel passionately about that. So Ali Marmol fucking around with Jojo Romero isn't going to get me going.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, I get that.
That's the thing. And I can't act like it does. And I won't act like it does. Like if they go here, like, hey, here's the deal. Here's your contract. But we need you to give takes on the Cardinals like all the time on social media. I'll be like, I don't know.
I think a Substack might be good for stuff like that. Because there is like, I don't know if you would want to write.
I loved writing. And I loved doing interviews, and I miss both of those. But the issue with both of them was I couldn't write every day because I didn't feel strongly about something every day. So that's where Substack would come into play. And I couldn't do an interview every day because it's so tough to get the guests. And if we do it, and I haven't even talked with Hubbard about this, this is something that Hubbard provides that I wouldn't be. I mean, I guess I could do it on my own, but it would take a healthy amount of capital to have the digital studio that we have here, and also the production. God, when you see that, I don't know if you've been back in there. Like it looks like master control, and the lighting and the set. Holy shit!
It's first class.
It big time. It truly is. Like there'll be something coming here in the next few days that people find out about, and you'll see it. And holy shit!
Nice little tease right there.
It was inadvertent. If you had to stick around for 2 hours and 40 minutes to get it.
If you've been here for 2 hours and 40 minutes, you got it.
But like to have an interview with Eli Drinkwitz or Bill DeWitt III on that set.
Yeah.
With that video, and then clip it up and put clips of that on TikTok. Not like, and that's nothing against what we do, but our thing's the 4-box, and I know why we do it for TMA. But like, you could take like the 2-shot of me and Drinkwitz, and then 1 shot on him, and then 1 shot on me when I'm asking questions, or reaction shots.
Stack it,
That's how you do it. But you need the technology, the studio, a director, actually, technical director to switch the camera. I mean, you can do all of it on your own. The great Peter Repp, and now KG No Town, do it for sound stories, but God, it takes time to be able to do it live and not in post-production. It's incredibly valuable, and then you can really do some good shit. And I love that. I love doing it. That's quality stuff. It really is. I know it was quality stuff, and I'm confident it could be quality stuff again. And I'm not going, okay, and I'll do it, but I need, this amount of money to do it. That stuff I love. So yeah, Substack, you're right. I don't know what I would make from it. I don't even know if I'd make $1,000 a month doing it.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But it could be cathartic in a way.
Yeah, I love writing, and it is truly a thing. Like when I'm about to go, it's like, fuck, I'm about to go, but I know when it's over, I'm going to be glad I went. But God, it's a process to get there. It's a really weird deal. You got to piss probably, I would assume.
No, I'm doing okay.
Okay. Also forgot to, this will be the final one. This Daniel Harris gets the game ball.
He does.
Frank Delange's grandson.
Shout out to Delange.
Thank you. City championships. Also forgot to comment, best of emails of TMA was Class Jackson killing it. I haven't heard it. That's playing today on TMA all day. I know many of you will not be listening to this live.
Yeah, played right before the show. It led into the show this morning, and it's playing again here at 5:30. See it right here, actually. So I appreciate that. It was really fun putting that together. I got to listen.
So you just did that? That was you? That wasn't Chairman Kurt? That was just you?
No, it was just, I slapped it all together.
It's I'm telling you. You want to know the secret to life? I'll give it to you real quick. When you love doing something and it is part of your job, you've won.
Oh, yeah.
And really, honestly, I mean, I guess it gets to a point, I suppose, with family that you have to have a certain amount of household income. But it really is the core truth, at least in 2024 America, that if you love doing something, that you will do it even if you're not going to be financially compensated, like you did with that, which I actually want to listen to because I'll find that amusing. Or me writing, which nobody's saying, hey, we'll do this, but you got to write on Substack. I mean, it'll just be my own thing. Or interviews, those kinds of, like an interview season, like 10 interviews, like Letterman's thing, and that's your job, then that's the win.
Yeah.
Because the non-professional stuff is going to be spent, ideally, unless you fucked up, doing shit you want to do, especially before you have kids, for sure, So you're winning, 8 of the hours, ideally, are allocated to sleep. So a third's that's just the way that it is. So we've got 16 hours to work with. And if 8 of the hours can be spent with people you enjoy being around, and importantly also, not spent with people you don't enjoy being around, which might actually, for me, my metrics, is more important.
Yeah, if you enjoy solitude, then the second half.
I'm just saying the addition by subtraction might be more valuable than the addition, if that makes any sense. And I don't know if it does, but I know what it means in my head. Then if the other 8 hours of your professional life are spent enjoying it, well, then where is the lack of enjoyment? You know what I mean?
Left and right, Tim.
That's what I'm saying. So that's it. So that's the game.
Yeah.
Now, you might not make as much if you had become, take your pick of whatever career that could have paid whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, I don't know. There's value in feeling like you're not going to work.
Yep. I agree with that. And I am a firm believer. I made this up on the fly, but I'm going to say it right here. You chop enough water and you carry enough. I'm sorry. Whew.
I was
good
like,
start.
Wow, I've never heard this phrase.
What a good start to this thing I'm saying.
So poignant. Well, it's a brave podcast, Jackson.
You're about to get a hell of a lot more courageous. You chop enough wood and you carry enough water, eventually you can build a house.
Jackson Burkett.
So
is this kid really 26? I think he's lying about his age.
So you do enough of the
Danny Almonte.
Some shit where you might not get paid for it, or you're not getting paid, like all this stuff. You pay your dues, you chop enough wood, and you carry enough water, and you whistle while you work, and eventually you'll have a house.
Well, I'm telling you, Chairman Kurt just popped in. Thanks, guys. You got me through my entire match today. Is he done with his match? I thought he was teeing off at 2:30, but maybe we've gone through his entire match. Both you and the chairman are perfect examples. That's why when I said we're hiring for Sound Story, I'm like, I don't know what we want. I just know I want Jackson, but for Sound Story. And that's actually what Chairman Curtis, it's what Peter Rep was. It's just like, I don't even know what the fuck it is, but there it is. Yeah. You chop enough wood, you carry enough water, what was the other thing?
Whistle while you work.
Because that's a big part of it.
Yep. Yep.
Because we've had people who've chopped wood and carried water, but they weren't whistling while they were working.
More grumbling.
You know? And I'm not talking about like, oh, who's he talking? I'm just talking about in general.
Right.
These aren't like tells.
And like
but that's what stands out to me specifically about you. Is it's like, yeah, you just do it and it's taken care of. There's that. Like when John Kiowski, very rarely will he like say, hey, can you do, you know, because he's going to delegate to Tommy, who might delegate to me. We're not usually in direct communication on things. And I'm like, okay, I know the program because I know what it's like to kind of be in that chair, even though he's managing, you know, infinitely more money than I am. And I know all I want to hear is, okay, got it, or it's done. You don't want to hear how and why or how tough it's going to be or a bad attitude about it. Just got it, took care of it. Yep. Thanks.
Wood
have
chopped,
a good day. That's
water
it.
carried. It's done.
Whistled.
And
That's
I whistled the whole time.
That's it.
And eventually you can build a house.
I'm telling you, if I can grab David Harris, Daniel Harris, and his brother David T. If I can grab the Harris boys, these young college boys,
whose
young people, his grandfather's Frank Delonge, and obviously whistled while he worked on his way to hundreds of city championships at St. Gabriel's. If I can tell you that, I'm not saying you're going to be like with a place in Huntley or Ladue.
Sure.
But you can do very well if you can just follow these tenets. I'm telling, especially in 2024, because I remember my dad years ago saying, Timmy, if you just do the bare minimum, you'll stand out. This was like in the 90s. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then like 25 years later, I go, son of a bitch.
I nailed it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's it. So now I think it's even, the bar is even lower. And if you can just do it, and you can be like, I hate this motherfucker. That's fine. But just do the work and be pleasant about it. Or not even not pleasant. Just like non-combative.
Yeah, you gotta just sit there.
Minimize the sick days. You know, just be reliable. I mean, the bar is so low for success. I don't know. It's there for you. Anyway, you know what this was? This was a brave podcast. I don't even know what the fuck we talked about, honestly. What, I'm doing a reality show on TikTok.
McKernan's. We talked about...
I sleep with a pillow on my head.
I mean, it started off with what's the best drug? Cardinal playoff baseball.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Stanley Cup final or college football. Then moved into... the first question we had was brilliant. Are sports really about winning?
Oh, yeah. Barnard Brawler.
Yeah, and that was in the morning.
Yeah, that was in the morning. Yeah, we're mid-afternoon. I'm just assuming it's a shitty day outside.
I hope.
Because otherwise, I'd be getting work in. It's cloudy, 69 degrees. It's about to... No, it's not.
It's supposed to get nicer this
it is going to be sunny. Shit, well, maybe I will go get work in. All right, we got to go. I've kept Jackson for close to 3 hours. For Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been the Tim McKernan Show on the Inside STL Podcast Network.